on that you can be like, here's the connective thread?
I will 100%. And now, mind you, I was going to wait and let you discharge some negative energy before I brought this up. I was going to let you kind of switch poles and, woosah, get your snack in, get your drink on. Yeah. Oh God, that pissed me. It never bothered me until you mentioned it. And at first I was like, okay, but you cannot write Uncle Ben out. That's some bullshit.
And
he is.
Also, how many times did we see Peter Parker going to the cemetery and we only saw one gravestone?
It was like they were doing that on purpose.
That's what I mean. Now, if Prophet was here, I understand putting things in a movie to push the narrative. But the Amazing Spider-Man took a different route, and they mentioned Peter Parker's parents and his aunt and uncle. That's a different take. They were doing something new with that. I liked it. It was refreshing. This movie straight up feels like from the very first time we see Peter Parker, you don't even need to know who Uncle Ben was. You don't need to know that his uncle died, that Marissa Tomei is a widow, even though she comes across as this hot little, like,
yeah.
People want to gatekeep. I'm gatekeeping why I love Spider-Man. And it's the aspects of who he is what makes us connect to him. If I don't see this guy losing anyone he loves, and it doesn't have to be, oh, why does someone have to die? It doesn't have to be, but that's Peter Parker's story. That's Spider-Man's story. If we looked at Superman, and let's say Krypton never explodes. Let's say Jor-El never has issues with
See, I got Superman issues to begin with.
Yeah, like what if the planet never exploded and now we just see Superman on his planet? Does he matter? Is he a Superman, or is he just another Krypton?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the critical things that have to change, or I'm sorry, that don't change. If you want to have Superman crash down to Earth and land in Smallville, Kansas, USA, and his mom and dad are Martha and Jonathan Kent, but you want them to be black, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. That doesn't change who Superman is. It doesn't change who Clark Kent's going to be. He's still going to be that guy. So even with Spider-Man, if you want to change Aunt May saying with great power comes great responsibility, I don't give a fuck. It's a lesson that Spider-Man learns and has to learn at some point. I am not the dictator of when. It just needs to happen. But with Peter Parker, there needs to be an Uncle Ben. He needs to be... I remember fan casting thinking, wouldn't it be cool if they had an Uncle Ben and it was Tobey Maguire? And it was just a subtle little like, oh shit, look at who they had Uncle Ben as in this universe. And he has a mustache or something like that, so he looks a little strange. But that was the shit I always hoped for. And again, this movie specifically, it prefaced it for me that Uncle Ben does not fucking matter. And I have to accept it. I accept it as defeat. I'm not going to go into the next movie being like, why no mention of Uncle Ben? I'm over it. He's gone. Fuck him. He's gone. So
literally beating that dead horse.
I have, but I feel like I had to say the last bit of it now that I've had the final chunk of the story, so to speak. So
I absolutely agree with you, though. I mean, so much of that is just those 4 or 5 words: with great power comes great responsibility. And like you said, I can accept it coming from Aunt May. That's fine. That's his moral backbone. That's the backbone of Spider-Man, is that right there.
Yep.
No matter how it comes across, we still got that message. But why? Why?
Yeah.
Did Uncle Ben die in a stupid canoeing accident or something? And he would have been a young man when he passed away, mind you. Do they just not want to go, Uncle Ben? He was accident prone and.
Oh, Joe, I love that you said canoeing accident because my brain immediately said, where the fuck is he canoeing in New York City?
See, that's the problem.
It
He
had
went
to
out
have been an
canoeing.
accident. You're right. Oh my, you know what it was? For all you Jackass fans out there, if you've ever watched the TV show Jackass, it's that urban kayaking. That's what Uncle Ben was doing, that urban kayaking. And he got fucked up and died. And that's why we don't mention it.
It would have been in the 80s about the time Teen Wolf came out. I bet he was van surfing.
Well, my thought, okay, I won't harp on this, but I'll try to put some logic to it. Peter Parker mentions Uncle Ben, slightly for a minute. He says something along the lines of, like, Aunt May's had a really hard time since that. But he stops himself. He doesn't say the full thing. It alludes to, for us who know the story of these people, we would think, oh, Aunt May. Or, I'm sorry, Uncle Ben. What's up, Kaz? So, Peter Parker has had to have been alive during Uncle Ben's life as well. So he knew his uncle. And when we first meet Peter Parker, he's 16 years old. I would like to think, and he's already been Spider-Man at this point. We have the home video footage that Tony Stark shows him where he's in like his pajama suit, stopping a bus or something like that. And Tony Stark even says to him, you've been Spider-Man for 6 months now. So when we meet Peter Parker, they timestamp it in 2016 when he is 15 years old. At that point, he has already been Spider-Man for 6 months. In my head, Uncle Ben died 6 months ago in 2016. From 2016 to this newest movie that takes place in, I would say, probably 2028, because they did push the movies like 2 years past where we are. No mention of an Uncle Ben like in over a decade. Now I can take what some people might say and go, oh, I was close to my so-and-so. They passed away. I don't talk about them. That fits your story. That's your story. In this, how does your aunt, who is so torn up about it, not have a moment where Peter is the strong one for her? Because my favorite parts in those original Tobey Maguire movies are when Aunt May is doing a yard sale and she's getting rid of all of her old stuff and she's getting rid of all of Peter Parker's comic books to the little kid next door. And she, like you said, Joe, she is the backbone of who Peter Parker is to make Peter Parker Spider-Man. And the backbone of Spider-Man is Uncle Ben. And unfortunately, all of that has to happen with the death of Uncle Ben. And without us seeing what makes Aunt May strong, other than you telling me it, I, as a Spider-Man fan, have a hard time believing it. That's my thoughts.
I can follow that. I can definitely, and the 2.5 times is the half time I got up to the point, the last time that he went up to the grave, because I was so sure the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to get at least a graveside. Hell, he doesn't have to stand there and put the flowers at his Uncle Ben's grave. He can at least look at it. He can at least be buried by his significant other.
Right. Wouldn't you think? Now, wouldn't you think there would already be most married couples, and this, I could be out of pocket for saying this, but most married couples have that we bought 2 lots together or plots next to each other for when the day happens, we are already set to be together for the rest of our lives. And that is another characteristic of not getting to see Uncle Ben and Aunt May interact together. You wouldn't know that those are 2 people that would have been inseparable. So they would have had a spot where there's 2 plots. That's Uncle Ben already thinking ahead of life. Like,
yeah.
And then again, that's the fucking 60 years, 70 years or whatever it is of you, the Marvel Universe, feeding me that story of Uncle Ben and all that stuff, and me growing up with it, and now I have to basically unlearn it. And again, I won't harp on it going into Spider-Man 5, but I still, Joe, I still sit firmly on my throne over here of, if I don't get some kind of backstory in Doomsday, not Doctor Doom, and you made a good point, maybe I should have said it specifically, I don't need what was Doctor Doom doing in the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
But I need to know that they knew each other from that movie. Like, when they went into, when the Fantastic Four talk about they've already been into space one time already, why not show a flashback of Victor Von Doom with you? You guys showed flashbacks, news, like the TV recordings and news things of, here are the Fantastic Four taking their first steps into space. Where was Doom?
Yeah, and he's an integral part of that story. That's how Doom became the antagonist of them all.
Right. So when does Doom go into space and get his powers? Does he just say, fuck it, I'm going up there by myself? How does he have a connection to them being... Because as far as I've ever read, Doom was always the fifth member of that team going into space, getting hit with that gamma or whatever the radiation was. And he got so disfigured, he went into hiding into Latveria, and he was that. Then he became the enemy. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a deeper lore there. But again, I don't know if that's true. Every iteration of Doctor Doom I've ever known was he was right there with the Fantastic Four when they all got fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
So I just need... Maybe, you know, even if you showed Reed Richards doing a flashback when he's in college in this new movie, and Doom's right there, and you just see this budding friendship, but this rivalry at the same time, and then I can finally be like, okay, you're shoehorning it in, but at least it's there. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, but still, I can see what you're talking about, where you're like, how are you going to explain an entire developed Fantastic Four? The entire team is together. It's not like this is a brand new, you know, like the Reed Richards and the Johnny Storm ones that we watched from what, 2013, 14, that Fantastic Four series. Where they put that all together. That all came together with Doom. The whole story was all plotted out together. In this one, it's going to be how do you just go back in time and be like, oh, yeah, I remember all the times that Doom was that. You remember whenever Doom was there? And yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, you didn't even, other than the empty chair in the Latvernian council or whatever, that was it. Yeah. And that's a huge, and it's plot holes that you're pointing out. That's what these are called. Plot holes.
Yeah, and I'm not a curmudgeon fan. I'm gonna be there to see the next movie, even if I don't like the last one or whatever. Like, I'm not jaded. I just, when you emphasize certain things and you underutilize others, like how many, I'm gonna harp on the Uncle Ben thing again, I can't get off of it, but how many times in one fucking Spider-Man movie do we need to see Spider-Man in a montage getting flowers out of a bin? You show me at one time. Man,
and that's what got me too, is they stressed the point. It's they went above and beyond to write him out. And I'm like, what did Uncle Ben do? He was a fictional character. What did he do to you people?
Yeah, man. It genuinely bothers me because it feels like they are literally trying to be like, fuck this, you know, you don't need to know about this character, because there could have been, instead of seeing 100 montages of him picking flowers. Now, this is where I'm going to have my con with the movie. This is my biggest problem with the movie, but it goes to what we're talking about. Instead of picking all the goddamn flowers, you could have done that at the beginning of the movie, the middle of the movie, and then at the end of the movie. With each scene, instead of it just ending with him walking away, it would transition into something that actually progressed the story, because none of that shit mattered. It was just there to tell you, hey, this lady you're going to see inside Spider-Man's head later on at the end of the movie to help Jean Grey, this is his aunt. If you didn't see the other movies, we're going to fucking flood your brain with letting you know how important she was, and she's dead, so it's not surprising and you don't have to question, who's this lady? It was too much. After the fourth movie, it was too much. So, again, my biggest problem with the movie, every single scene they showed where Spider-Man was fighting one of the, not variations, but one of the many different villains in the movie, all of those shots were in the trailer. They didn't add anything. You didn't see him actually fighting anybody. And what a cheap fucking gag that is. Like, you did that in the Fantastic Four movie. You have Reed Richards talking about, we've stopped Mole Man, we've stopped the Wizard, we've stopped this. Show me you guys fighting. That's what I'm here for. I want to see comic book fights.
Yep.
The only thing we got was a Scorpion fight, which wasn't even Scorpion. It was Jean Grey controlling him, so that really wasn't a fight of him. We saw Tombstone talk and then get webbed up. We saw Boomerang throwing his boomerangs shot for shot in the trailer. Same with Tarantula. The only one they added was Ramrod that you don't see in the trailer, because who the fuck knows who Ramrod is besides some idiot like me that read fucking comic books from a long ass time ago. Like, I was so bummed out with that. I was like, oh, I can't wait to actually see the guy that's playing Tombstone, like what his role is going to be. Like, he's going to be a new big heavy of the city. And then it's like, oh, he's just he's a jobber. He's a punk.
Yeah.
And I thought that sucked. I won't lie, that sucked.
The one thing that I hate and I cannot stand about comic book movies is whenever they try and go too comic book. I think like the third Hulk, or maybe it was the third one, with Eric Bana. That one I hated because they did those like comic cutaway scenes and da 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 da, and that's what the Russo brothers did with every last hook that they had. Is they threw it all out there, and what you got was a comic book cover. That's what they wanted. That's what they put out there. You didn't get the fight before it. You didn't get anything after it. And literally, it was comic book cover, cut to the next scene. Comic book cover, cut to the next scene. That was very close to that whole, you might as well show this in a comic book cell. You're riding that line.
Yep. You're 1,000% right. This, and for anyone that's listening, we are not saying this is a bad film or anything. We are literally just pointing out the things for comic book enthusiasts that we noticed from the movie that might take us out specifically, but does not hinder the viewing of the movie. Like, I'll say it straight up right now. I give the movie like a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think it's definitely my third favorite movie. I think it's the second best Spider-Man movie behind Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. They will, for whatever reason, that movie will never be topped. That is the peak Spider-Man movie of all time. Spider-Man Far From Home, where you bring back Tobey and Andrew, that's just the cream of the crop right there. That's kissy kissy, I love it. And then this newest one is a definitive. This is definitive. We went from Spider-Boy to Spider-Man. He is truly Spider-Man in this movie. And I liked all of that, but there are, without a doubt, some nitpicky moments. I still think, and I understand why they did it. They went with the Hulk because it's the Hulk character. They can put Bruce Banner in there, but I still think there should have been some Miles Warren stuff in there for the clones, because if you see the end of the movie where there is the end credit scene, you know what? Actually, hold on. What did you think of that, Joe? Let me hear what your thoughts are.
Now let me see the end credit scenes. Hum a few bars of that.
You see Ned's little like spider tracker.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm, I don't know. What happened after that? I'm honestly seriously trying to
Okay,
remember.
so the end credit scene is you basically are looking at Ned Leeds has a phone or just his iPad or whatever, and on the screen it shows you the spider tracker to let you know where Spider-Man went or is. And so it's showing you the screen, and it starts to, it's saying, "Oh, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, he's here, he's here." And they show you the city, and then it zooms out and it shows you the Earth, and then it pans away, and
Oh,
then
it
you don't.
shows it in outer space. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's leading into possibly a, what is it, the Horde? Is that what we could maybe be talking about? Where he fights the Horde in outer space?
See, I'm not thinking that. I was thinking, there were a couple of thoughts in my head. One, the first one that jumped out to me, Kaz says multi-dimensional. Possibly, could be. The thing that jumps out to me is when they're panning, when they show you the original screen of his tracker, and when it starts to pan over to go to outer space, right before, seconds before it gets to the new Spider-Man location or whatever, there's a quick little glitch in the video, like real fucking quick. Very, 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 very similar to the Into the Spider-Verse glitch.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, well, what is that? Maybe him fighting Thanos?
See, I think that's what they want you to believe. I think most fans are going to now that we know the Doom is coming and Battle World is coming and all that shit and Secret Wars, I think that's what they want you to go with at first is, oh, this is telling you now Spider-Man's out in the universe. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's that signal is picking up another Spider-Man, not Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Because it is it's a Spider-Man tracer, not a Peter Parker tracer. And that's my thought only because I saw that glitch. And I'm like, wait a minute. What if they bring in, it doesn't even have to be Miles Morales. What if they bring in Nicolas Cage's live action version of Spider-Noir in the next, installment of something? And then we get the slow, because I also believe that girl that's in Peter Parker's apartment that is kind of flirty with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be Gwen Stacy. I think that's going to be our Spider-Gwen right there.
Oh, that would be the Are You Wearing My Clothes girl?
Right. Exactly. Because they put a little, they showed her quite a bit for her not being somebody, other than just his neighbor. They showed her in like 3 or 4 scenes.
Yeah, there was a lot more to her than the initial thought. But yeah, absolutely, I could see that happening. That could definitely be a thought. And I just wanted to piggyback on something you said. Yeah. This was such a cool movie. It was an absolute phenomenal movie, but it was very much a Spider-Man movie. I mean, it was cool. It was great. All the graphics in it were cool. The storyline was good. The plot holes about where did Uncle Ben go? Shh, I think he's Doom. What about that? I'm going to throw that out there. What if Uncle Ben is Doom?
Dude, that would be fucking insane.
I'm going to have to get a hold of Michael and have him make me up a graphic. Him taking off his mask with great power. He goes, shut up, Ace. Leave me alone. I'm right here. I'm fine. Only one person in the entire multiverse cares about Uncle Ben, and it's this man here. Yeah.
We need an Uncle Ben Marvel Legends figure. Let's go.
Oh. I was going to say, you could almost get that figure from Ben 10, the grandpa figure from there. Throw him in a little plaid shirt.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And Kaz, to somewhat of your point, yeah, pretty sure he got something to help him track that version of Spider-Man. Agreed. But look at how many breadcrumbs they give us that don't lead to anything, or they sway the, you know, the keys are jingling over here, but we're getting this over here and not realizing it. I don't take anything that they gave us as face value. And I'll throw this out there, and I'll really probably ruffle some tail feathers and get people to be like, you're fucking an idiot, Ace. I don't believe at the end of the movie, when Peter Parker goes up to Ned and he does his little handshake with him, and then he says, I'm Peter Parker, and then Ned's looking at him, and then he's like, Peter. He doesn't remember who he is. I don't believe that. I don't believe he knows who he is. I don't think it came back to him. I think he had a moment.
Just nerdy Ned?
No. Nope. I think it hit him in the head quick. Peter. Wait a minute. MJ called Spider-Man Peter. I think he had a moment.
No, there we go.
I think he had a moment. I don't think I think, sure, this could be muscle memory. What they did could be muscle memory. And maybe that could be the start of, like, why did that seem so natural? Like, I don't think he knows who he is at all, because if MJ doesn't, then Ned doesn't. Because, like I've been told, we have to imagine these characters off screen as well. Well, if we're imagining them off screen, then sorry, friends and family, but Peter Parker and MJ were boning like little bunny rabbits while they were teenagers, okay? They would have a way stronger bond than just some fucking high five. We can't separate science from fiction in that one. That is nature right there. Because if Peter Parker can say to the Hulk, it's me, Peter, I'm your friend, and the Hulk not kill him, get out of here with that. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Silly nonsense. Silly nonsense. But I buy into it. I buy into it because I love this stuff and I accept it, but I don't. Actually, I love it. I don't have to accept it. I mean, let me say it that way. So, like everything, I have to wait for the next installment of these characters to see where and what they do.
Yeah.
But what they give me right now does make me, poke holes in the wet paper and then be like, oh, this isn't really standing on its own. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in previous movies. There's a lot of that in movies I love that are whatever. But it is conversation pieces, because if things are left for interpretation, we're not all thinking the same thing. We are definitely not all thinking the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, bud, I got a call from the insurance company. I will be popping right back. I'll give you a couple minutes if that's okay.
You're good. You're good.
Thank you, brother.
Yep. And then just like the Spider-Verse, it sunk right back down to just me. But yeah, I'm not discrediting anybody what they think could happen. I'm just throwing out what my thoughts might be, what I've interpreted from what they presented to us. There's many a moments where I was like, oh, this seems right, but then no, okay. The whole, and I'll start it off, the whole Jean Grey murdering people and then kind of not murdering the guy that murdered her sister because she has a come to moment because of Aunt May. Is that my favorite thing? No. Do I like that? No, not really. I don't. If you're going to use somebody to propel the X-Men, I don't care if you use Jean Grey. I don't care what the story is. But if you have her set up as a murderer and she killed somebody previously in the movie that was innocent as all hell, and then you got her not killing the guy that is responsible for all of it, taking her time. No. She killed a guy that was innocent. That's like John Wick taking his time to kill all the people he did. No, get out of here with that. That's bullshit. I'll disagree with that all day long. Taking her time. If she was taking her time, she would have slowly put one shard of glass in at a time. That's sick. That's maniacal. That's revenge. What she was doing, she was waiting for someone to stop her. Lame. It was lame. It was lame. Because I can't get off of the fact she murdered someone earlier in the movie that was innocent. That had nothing to do with anything. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me tell you. So Jean Grey can boop, 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 swap bodies and stuff like that. She probably killed a lot of innocent people throughout the movie. But the one that you can't shake a stick at, baby dogs. No, 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 no. It's right there in your face. She takes possession of like a garbage man out on the street and is standing there. And she's like, come find me or something like that. And walks backwards right into the traffic. And you see that truck. Bend that son of a bitch like a Twix bar in the middle. Dead. Dead, dead, dead. Picked up here, killed right there, dropped off here. That's dead. She murdered that guy deliberately. I can't accept that. I can accept somebody wanting to torture someone. Oh, hells to the yeah. But if she was that mad, damn howdy doody, I'd have had to figure she'd have done it. So I looked at it, and that's, to me, that's the bridge that Xavier's going to use when he sees Jean and needs to rehabilitate her. Jean, you're capable of murder, but look, you didn't do it. There's good inside of you. Something like that, which, okay. But maybe not use Jean for the murdering crazy person? I don't know. I'm not going to write a new movie. Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Does whatever a spider can. I tell you what, that's my number one kudo to that entire movie. Being a 70s baby, seeing that nice silky suit on him was so fantastic. That is a straight up callback to the 70s show Spider-Man suit, and I loved it. That was phenomenal.
It looked beautiful. It really did. It looked really good in almost every single shot. And because I'm Mr. Nitpicky, I do want to nitpick his suit. Those web shooters are like that fucking big on his wrist.
Yeah.
That's going to hinder your like entire forearm ability, is it not? Like a big piece of metal there? I don't know. Nitpicky. My second nitpicky is, how the hell can he just grab the back of his head and pull his mask over in one fucking shot and it's straight on his face? You people, go back to the beginning of this stream and count how many times I've adjusted my hat just sitting here. But Spider-Man can pull his mask, which isn't attached to his outfit. It's its own fucking piece. But he can pull it over in one swoop and the eyepieces are in the right spot. I got to adjust my glasses all the time. How does he do it? Goddamn Spider-Man.
Let alone with that HUD. That's got to scratch the hell out of your head every time. And his hair's always like, it poofs back out. I wear a hat for 2 seconds and I've got the weirdest hat head. I mean, okay, him pulling it might as well be a nanotech visor that he's taking up and down, that it comes off and on so smooth. But
it's so silly because the scene where it really jumped out to me was when MJ is rolling up his mask to kiss him. And I'm like, Jesus, you could probably just like flick it off the way he flicks it on. You don't have to roll it up or anything like that. It just seems so silly to me. I'm like, I don't think I've ever even really paid attention to that. But now all of a sudden that mask seems like it actually has texture and thickness to it. Before it just looked like a wet piece of paper. He's just gliding over his head and it's stuck there. But I loved it. I do. I love the suit. I think it looked great. I'm finally glad we are away from like the Iron Man suits and shit like that. And we're back to the, him having the holes in it and using web shooters and stuff like that. And yeah,
I thought he was kind of over exaggerated whenever he started. Now, mind you, if I start shooting silk, spinning webs on my wrist, I would be freaked out. But I'm not Spider-Man. you would figure, like, whenever he's shot the web out and he's like, ew, 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 ew.
Right. That's what I would
Wouldn't
have
he have
done.
been grabbed it up and been like, oh my God, what am I doing now? Wow. It was just weird to me the way his like ickiness with this, and I can kind of get it. If you start shooting stuff out of your body,
Right, but you would think with him being so used to everything being so fucking weird, that wouldn't be the last of it. And yeah, Kaz, we know that it was Jean Grey, but it was the same. It's the same. Listen, Prophet. We know. We got the details, Prophet. We're just talking about the lifting of the mask, Prophet. It didn't have to matter. If you get it, you get it. And if you get your feelings hurt, I don't give a fuck. Bust your balls.
she was pretending to be MJ.
Right. Yeah, we know that she was pretending to be MJ, which was one of the most fucked up parts of the whole movie. Honestly, I did not expect it to go that dark in that moment when that reveal came around. I was like, oh fuck, that's kind of not cool. Like and that's another thing. That's another thing, okay? If we want to say Jean Grey was acting out of revenge, then why the fuck was she taking it out on Spider-Man? Why would Jean Grey kill Mary Jane if she's looking for revenge on somebody else? Because if Spider-Man's powers didn't work in that moment, MJ would have fucking died and Jean Grey would have straight up been a murderer. So it's moments like that I'm like, how do you come back from this? Like, you can say she was redeemed at the end of the movie, but if you're paying attention and you're thinking about like, wait a minute, she possessed this girl's body, allowed this kid to think that it was her, tell him she loved him, and then be a fucking disgusting person. Like, that's not Jean Grey. That's literally the Dark Phoenix being a bitch.
That's what I see throughout the entire thing. That's the only, because I was like, Jean Grey, she had a shred of humanity and all this and that, and it's especially with killing the garbage man, that bothered me too. And why couldn't Spider-Man go,
Right. There's these little plot holes and pick it apart, and I feel like that's what we're doing. But still, if I want to live in a world, it's just like, all right, I'll say this. It's like professional wrestling. I know it's fake. I know it's predetermined. So they should do their best job to make me believe what I already know isn't real could be real. Okay? Hulk Hogan, back in Hulk Hogan's day, he's the monster. Hulk Hogan! Andre the Giant was the biggest monster in the world. So what did they do to make Hogan look monstrous? Hulk Hogan picks him up and slams him. Now Hulk Hogan is this god. That made sense. In my era, in the 2000s, when they had women beating up the men, sure, it was entertaining because they made it fun. But I knew this wasn't real. Because I knew to myself, man, if this big muscular guy backhanded that small little lady, she'd be dead. That doesn't make any sense to me. So in Spider-Man comic book superhero shit, unless you're literally saying, hey, this is Hellboy, and you're going to see all sorts of shit and nothing is going to make sense and there's no science behind anything, I'm on board. But if you're telling me that this Jean Grey character is someone that in the future, when she's part of the X-Men, that I have to care about her, while you start her story off by showing that she has murderous intentions, it's not like the Punisher where he's been jaded and fucking, wronged, I understand why the Punisher murders people. I don't understand why Jean Grey wanted to murder an innocent girl because Spider-Man didn't let her into his head. I have to watch it again because I don't get it.
I tell you what, the more of it, I think, and she even says it, I think, or alludes to the statement of, I've really tried to keep you out of my way. I've really tried to keep you from going down this path, talking to Spider-Man, Yeah. And I think that a lot of it is just maybe her going to the extremes to really keep him out of the entire situation. You know, being like, okay, you want to mess with me? I'm going to take out everybody you love, keep you at bay.
That's totally valid. So let's play the devil's advocate. Let's say with Peter Parker's intentions prior to that, he kind of wants to help Jean Grey still, right? Whatever his intentions were, he's not out to murder nobody, he's just out to help. Punisher's in the mix now. We have to keep him as a variable for this next part. If Jean killed Mary Jane, do you, as a viewer, do you think that would have stopped Spider-Man from trying to help her, pursue her, or do you think that would be like, you know what, the Punisher's right, this bitch has got to die? Do you think
had that happened, oh God, I think that would have triggered his full spider psychosis, and he just would have went completely insane.
I think so too. I think this would have been Peter Parker. You could have swapped out, instead of it being Daredevil and Punisher for one bad day, you could have had it be Spider-Man for one bad day. I see no difference between those characters. No difference at all. They're both, I mean, Daredevil and Spider-Man. They're both righteous. They're both holy. They are the Captain America of the ground, superhero people. But even Daredevil, like I just said, there's the issue. One bad day. All it takes is one bad day. And that could be the story of Punisher or Daredevil or Spider-Man. And it's just that's how I saw it. Since you said that, anyways, I should say, because I would definitely have seen him being like, well, he's got his mutation is definitely going to take over, and he's going to become psychotic. Just that alone, from what they presented in the movie, but also what we've been told in this same Spider-Man universe, Andrew Garfield admitted that he stopped pulling his punches at one point in his universe. So that alludes to Spider-Man has killed people before. It's not off the table to have these kind of discussions of, well, it's against his characteristic. It's not. These characters are situational. Everyone wants to say Batman doesn't murder people. The fuck he doesn't. Are you kidding me? I don't care what version of Batman you want to say, well, he didn't kill anybody here. I can pull a version of a Batman where he kills people. It's situational. These characters, these stories are written specifically. These are not everyday life situations that just happen to happen and a superhero was involved. These are purposefully told this way.
Yeah.
And like Prophet said last week, Superman will become public domain at some point. You or I could make a Superman movie where Superman says, fuck this, I'm done using my powers. I'm indestructible. I'm going to kill humans with their weaponry, and I'm just going to use guns or something. Someone could create that. And who am I to say that's right or wrong? Like, it's how it's written. It's how it's, and clearly, like the Uncle Ben thing, it's written to not have him in it. It's written to not have him involved, and that's okay. But it's also written to heavily have Aunt May be this voice of reason.
She's the martyr of the story now. She just took that martyr mantle from Uncle Ben.
Yes. Which, whatever. I mean, I'd rather it be Aunt May than it have continued to be Tony Stark. Because I think we've all read a handful of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics or Ultimate Iron Mans or anything from the last 15, 20 years that's modern. Obviously, those characters are intertwined and they're integral to each other. But we didn't need Spider-Man constantly being like, I can't do this without Tony Stark. It's like, how the fuck did you do it in the first place then? How? What again, without Uncle Ben, what enticed you to put on a homemade suit and go stop crime? Because you did it before Tony Stark. So where is the catalyst for this kid to have become Spider-Man? Because even Tony says to him, well, if you can't have the suit, what are you? Or whatever he says. It's like, that's contradictive of what you introduced us to in Civil War. This kid that has been doing it 6 months. The real conversation should have been without Iron Man, who is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, and now we've seen it. You know, we saw the second movie after that where he's doing his grieving stations and his mourning process, and he gets it. He gets past Tony Stark in the third movie. But then Aunt May dies. And now she's going to be, like you said, we're going to see Marissa Tomei in every single fucking Spider-Man movie now because she's got to be the moral compass that's in his head. I don't need that. Just like what they did with Punisher in this movie, where MJ opens up the cabinet and she just happens to see the families and stuff. And she's like, oh, is this your house? And he quickly is like, don't fucking touch nothing in here. Beautiful. I don't need Spider-Man to say, oh yeah, MJ, he's really uptight because his family got murdered in front of him. But, call me wrong, but how does MJ not know who the fuck the Punisher is? He's been posted all over the news from season 2 or 1 of Daredevil because all those cop guys were wearing his logo. So
yeah,
how does that kind of go under the radar of like, oh, I don't know who the Punisher is? It's like, what? You don't know who the fuck Frank Castle is? Like, I feel like everybody in the city probably has heard of Frank Castle because he causes so much fucking destruction.
Yeah, that's the one thing that got me too. Now, I haven't watched the whole Daredevil series or anything through there, but I'm like, it's like there's all this massive destruction, huge explosions, vehicles blowing up, and, you know, Punisher's just like, all right, guys, it's over. I'm going to duck out. See you later.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, yeah, it's Punisher. He just took off. It's fine. Like,
Right.
thank you.
Absolutely. It's
like, when did the Punisher gain that freedom?
That's what I thought too. I'm like, damn, he just got notoriety and he can just kind of walk through the streets now and like, nope. Because he always was that underground hero guy, or the underground vigilante, I should say.
Yeah, yeah.
Where, I mean, because if he can be out in the streets all willy-nilly and the cops aren't chasing him down, why is he living inside of a shipping container, or not a shipping container, but a shipping yard in a boat? But I don't nitpick it because I genuinely love that aspect of seeing Punisher live like that because
yeah,
outside of like if Spider-Man's not hanging out with him, he's sitting there more like miserable. And now we can visualize where Punisher is just always just brooding and making his weapons and thinking about, I'm going to go kill this next fucking group of people. It just, I loved it. It gave the aesthetic of like, okay, Punisher, he exists in this universe. Like, not just being told it. Now, when I see the next, you know, whatever movie, I can think to myself when they show a huge shot of the city and they show maybe like a shipping yard, I can think, ooh, maybe that's the one where Punisher's at.
Okay.
And okay, speaking of that kind of mentality, if I'm really picking this movie apart, if Yelena is in New York City, the new Avengers Tower is in New York City, Spider-Man has affiliations with the new Avengers, why did we not see Spider-Man at all web swing by the Avengers Tower, land on the tower, look at the tower and be like, oh, I remember the days when I used to be an Avenger, or something like that? Or why did he not meet Yelena at the Avengers Tower, but at a weird bathhouse? Why did we need that scene? Why did we need those scenes?
Maybe that I really don't know. That was, I thought that was odd, and I thought the same thing because I'm thinking back to all the, because I mean they showed all of Manhattan, him swinging through. You did not miss a bit of the New York skyline.
No.
And at no point did you see the Avengers building.
Nope. And I thought, and hey, maybe someone could come in here and say, well, that's not the story. Okay, that's fine. But you don't think Spider-Man, who used to be affiliated with these people, who clearly has trauma of letting go of the past, he wouldn't web swing by the Avengers Tower just in the movie for the sake of like, oh, there's where my friends live. But we're going to show Yelena. We're going to show Bruce Banner. We're going to have Avengers in it, but we're not going to show the Avengers Tower. It's little things like that. It's like, why if you're not going to? And it just puts that thought in my head of like, oh, there's something else there. And they just like, we're not getting it. And I don't understand that. And it's very much, maybe I do kind of put this with the Dark Knight Rises movies for Batman. At the end of the Dark Knight Rises, the third and final one, we see the guy, they call him by his real name. They say his name is Robin Grayson, who is obviously, you know, Batman and Robin's Robin. But we see him going to the Batcave, and we see him finding the Batcave itself and all of the secrets. Am I supposed to believe Robin goes and becomes Batman? Because he's not even Robin yet. So why would he become a Batman? Who the fuck is going to be Robin if Robin is Batman? Why would you give us the detail that this guy's name is Robin at the end of the goddamn movie when he's going to go find the Batcave? Because now I'm lost thinking, what the fuck kind of universe did Christopher Nolan just set up? And we're never going back to it. So we're never going to see if this guy even takes on the mantle of anything. I hate that. I hate you're giving me information, but you're not following through with any of it. You're just putting it there to say, hey, isn't this fun? Because it's not. It's not fun. Now, for the last 15 years, I've wondered what the fuck has been going on in Gotham City. So,
I can see that. I think I even mentioned that the other day, how the director and the producers of each one of these films and their takes, even smaller ones, or continuity takes, you know, you there's so much that has to jive within the rest of the universe that if you can't keep it together, like you're talking about, the small continuity things. Why is our office a bathhouse? Why don't we see the Avengers Tower? Well, you know, it's I don't know. Like you said, maybe it's all just and this is stuff. Honestly, I personally give no thought to. I didn't.
I wish I didn't.
I'm sorry about the way your brain was nitpicking that. And you know what? Your brain was, and it never bother me about Uncle Ben until I was like, okay, show me a grave. Show me. You didn't even show me the grave.
And that's all I'm saying too. Is like, you had multiple spots to show one fucking. You could have showed a picture on the mantle. You could have said his name. You could have had Peter Parker get 2 sets of flowers and let me just think one goes to Uncle Ben. But even in the cemetery, and I even think I said in one of the streams, they're going to show a cemetery and they're not even going to show his fucking grave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my lordy, lordy, lord, why would there not be a grave? And you know what? Did her gravestone even say like beloved wife or anything like that?
No, it just had that some weird little quote at the end of it that I can't really remember right now.
I can't either.
Something about helping. If you help one person, you help everybody, or something like that.
Yeah. The quote should have been, "With great power comes no fucking Uncle Ben." It's gonna, Joe. Now that I put this little worm in your head, you're never gonna get it out of there ever.
It's actually the other way around. With Uncle Ben comes great responsibility.
Right. With Uncle Ben. Yes, exactly. So like, anytime now you go back and you watch, I don't give a shit which one you watch any Spider-Man movie now at this point, you're always going to be putting an emphasis on those Uncle Ben scenes, because you know at some point in 4 Spider-Man movies, you're not going to get a single fucking Uncle Ben scene at all. And I'm not against having the flashbacks I guess it's a flashback and like an interpreted memory of what they showed for Aunt May. I'm not against that. Because like I said the other day, they've done that in the original Tobey movies, where Spider-Man in the third one was having his dilemma. And Uncle Ben is like, hey, it's basically your time to die now. Come with me. And Peter's, is like, no, I still got more to do. I'm not above having a character come back for that morality purpose. But so fucking soon and so hard was too much for me. Every time they would show her, and actually, matter of fact, it was the first time they did it when Jean goes into Peter's head and you first see Peter sitting on the bed and you see Aunt May walking up and then sit down and then you get sucked back out. I instantly groaned and I said, fuck, we're coming back to this scene again. Because it was set up like that of, oh, we're giving you a little bit of the information, but no, we're taking you away. You'll come back to it later on. And they did it like 3 times. And it's like, why can't, like, I just want to know why it had to be Aunt May. Was it because it was a woman and it gave that comfort feel to Jean Grey as maybe her sister or her own mother? I don't know why it had to be Aunt May.
I don't think they thought that far ahead.
I don't either.
Would they have started, shadow banning? They shadow banned Uncle Ben. Would they start shadow banning Uncle Ben that long ago, just to reach a point where Jean Grey, who's dying for a motherly figure, is introduced to Aunt May, which is fine. And my thoughts is too. Well, maybe they didn't bring it because Tony hit on her a lot. Maybe they just didn't want to make it weird.
Maybe.
Make it weird. Just don't mention Uncle Ben. You'll make it weird.
And you know what? Now that you're saying that, when Peter says Aunt May's been through a lot, especially with and then ends his sentence, they make it sound like the loss of Uncle Ben was this horrible thing. But in that first Spider-Man movie, everybody's flirting with her and she's eating it up like it's candy.
Yeah.
So
that was my first thought when I was like, you can't really have a forlorn widow and Tony Stark like hitting on without everybody kind of getting the ick. That would have grossed me out.
Even the soup guy, when they went out for like soup, her and Peter.
Yeah.
It's like, why does this scene need to be in here? Why are we emphasizing so much that this woman is hot, but we're not mentioning she's a widow, which is important to her character? Her being attractive? Hold on, now I'm getting hot. Now I'm hot. Now I'm hot. Aunt May being an attractive woman has no fucking bearing on her character at all. But that's what they emphasized with her. Aunt May, for every single generation of us, was a withered old woman.
With a headscarf.
Yes. And even in the modern cartoons, she was like a hip 60-year-old lady, but she looked like a grandma. She didn't look like Marissa Tomei. Let me tell you what, Uncle fucking Vinny. She didn't look like that. So they went hard to make Aunt May a character that you needed to care about more than why you needed to care about her. And I got hot from that. I got hot. Justice for Uncle Ben. 10 years later. It's been 10 years. Uncle Justice!
You know what thought just flew through my mind? Nobody walks out on Papa Pizza.
Let's make the Papa Pizza Uncle Ben.
Exactly.
Let's make Bruce Campbell's Papa Pizza Uncle Ben. Let's go. That would have been a fun little Easter egg to have Bruce Campbell originally be an Uncle Ben and have a picture of him.
That he could have done it back then too, but yeah, now would even be better. It kills me that he's not. We don't get to see a Stan Lee in here. I understand all that. We don't get to see, and I know they're not Sam Raimi, and Bruce Campbell can't be in everything. But boy, howdy, would I have loved to have seen him in here somewhere.
Me too. I mean, it was great to see him in the Doctor Strange movie because, yes, like you said, Sam Raimi directed it, so he put our boy in there. But just as a Spider-Man Easter egg, it would have been very cool to have Bruce Campbell in here. Even have him in the movie as like, who could he have been in this last one? Who would have been a good spot for him?
Oh, he could have been that doctor. He would have been insane as that doctor.
Oh, yeah.
the director of if he was the director of the what is it, damage control,
Yeah,
that would have
Dr.
been insane.
Metzger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool to have him in there as a villain like that, and just put a little costume makeup on him and stuff like that. He doesn't have to look exactly as is, but it would have been fun. That would have been very fun.
What was the guy that helped Frank out all the time, that drove the van with all the weapons and shit in it? Have him been that dude back up unloading some stuff into that boat or something. That would have been cool.
Well, that's the thing too. So that's Microchip, you know, the Punisher's little sidekick there that gives him all of his tech and helps him out. He's his man in the chair. So in season 1 of the Punisher show on Netflix, Microchip was there, and then he gets killed at the end of it. And now there's not going to be an original Microchip ever again unless they bring someone else in. And they did that shit too. And I think it was the second season of Daredevil where Wesley, or is it Wesley or Wessler? Wesley. Wessler's from Blade. So Wesley is the Kingpin's little fucking like informant, his like right-hand guy that's always in the business suit. He literally does everything for the Kingpin.
Yeah.
He was in the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. I like the guy because he's this slimy little weasel son of a bitch, but he's dedicated to the Kingpin. So like, he's just a fun character. I really, really enjoyed him. But he's pivotal to the Kingpin. And in season 2, they kill him. And I'm like, whoa, that's shocking. But like, that dude is super fucking important. Like, they figured out how to go with the story and stuff. But it's so interesting to me that they get rid of a character that might not be overall important to the grand scheme of the biggest story you're going to tell. And obviously they're only important for the story you're telling. But man, it's crazy when shit like that happens and you're like, whoa, all right, well, you're gone. Like, and this is your first time. Nice to see ya.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, speaking of getting rid of characters, this is something that I heard, and I don't know if there's any truth to it. And if I can lean into Doom for a minute, because I think, is Spider-Man going to be in Doctor Doom?
I don't think our Spider-Man. I don't think Tom Holland is. No.
Okay. Okay.
I think, from what I've heard, it's going to be just Toby as a Spider-Man. But I don't think that's going to be very long either. I think, yeah, like I said about Doomsday, I believe there's going to be a lot of casualties in the very beginning of the movie.
Well, one of the things I think is going to happen, and if you notice, in one of the trailers, they show a huge hole where like all the people are standing around where Thor's talking to the new Avengers and like a couple of the other characters. Is Mark Ruffalo, did he do something to get himself kicked out of the Marvel universe? I heard that he is not going to be the Hulk anymore.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a comment, and I actually had pictures saved, but I forgot to upload them here. For you old, it's a good point. I want to talk about that. But for Mark Ruffalo, for you older folks that are Saturday Night Live viewers, Joe, I know you probably might get this because you are a Saturday Night Live guy. You and I have made lots of references to each other to where I know you get some deep cut jokes. Is it just me? I wish I had the pictures up here because if I put them side by side, I'd ask you which one's which. Do your best to think in your head, Joe. Did Mark Ruffalo used to be a handsome guy. He was in like romantic comedies and stuff.
No.
In this movie, did he switch places with Al Franken? Because, my God, he looks... Google him. If nobody knows who the fuck Al Franken is, please, Google this Saturday Night Live cast member from 70s and the 80s. I definitely know he wasn't in the 90s. I didn't grow up with him specifically. But Al Franken and Mark Ruffalo, current Mark Ruffalo, they look exactly alike. Yeah. Which one's that one? Is that Mark Ruffalo?
That's Al Franken.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then even when you Google a picture of what Mark Ruffalo used to look like, Jesus H, that guy has aged horribly. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but every time he was on screen, I'm like, what the fuck happened to his face? Why does he look bloated and really old? I'm not trying to be mean, but that's what I thought. I absolutely thought. I was like, is this Al Franken? Is Al Franken about to give me an update fucking news report right here in Spider-Man? What is this?
Well, maybe they were just trying to kind of show a progression of him. Because it did seem, I mean, he had the gray hair. His hair was grown out, kind of scruffy looking. He had the nerdy professor look. So maybe they were trying to do that and kind of emaciate him a little bit, make him look the total opposite end of what the Hulk would be.
I can go with it.
Mm-hmm.
It just jumped out to me because even in the trailer, I didn't think that in the trailer. No. But there was one specific shot where they're showing a close-up of him, and I'm just like, he looks like Al Franken. And I just watched an interview with Al, I don't know, maybe at the beginning of this year, and it's in my head. I'm like, they look like twins. But to what you said, is this something you just heard today?
Yeah, well, no. It was over the weekend. I heard them about that yesterday, and they were talking about that because, of course, I'm watching the Doom deep dives into the trailer, and let's look at every last second of everything. Why is there this spot? Oh, we're beefing with Mark Ruffalo, and maybe they cut the Hulk out of that picture there. So that would maybe lead to who gets killed first. Could be Banner. If they're mad at somebody, we know Marvel doesn't think twice about throwing them off the cliff.
No, exactly. And not to be political or anything like that at all, but Mark Ruffalo definitely has a very political mouth. And doesn't matter what side of the fence you stand on, somewhere under that property of Marvel, I'm sure it might ruffle somebody's tail feathers, maybe. That's what I'm going to go with, because I don't know any more about him than, people saying Mark Ruffalo is too opinionated on politics, but that's not my bag of worms, but that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard of a story where people are like, oh, Mark Ruffalo's an asshole, just his political voice. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's never been one person that's ever said anything about him in a negative way.
Right. So I don't know. Which, I don't give a shit what his political views are or anything like that. I can separate the movie and the characters from reality and shit like that. Even though John Berthal, he really is Frank Castle. Like, I think that's his real name is Frank Castle. He's so fucking good. And but that would suck if they're going forward and he's not going to be the Hulk, because
well, now I'm looking into some stuff here too. There's also a huge dispute between Marvel and Universal. So it may not be Mark Ruffalo. It might be the Hulk. That's the problem.
I know Hulk and Spider-Man, I believe, are the only two properties that Disney doesn't own, from the Marvel worlds.
Yeah.
That's why there's never been a standalone. This is for anybody that doesn't know. The reason there hasn't been a standalone Hulk movie since 2008 is because if Marvel made one, which they can, but they have to distribute it under the Universal, the banner of that, and they have to pay the rights and all of the money, or share it at least, with Universal, and then they wouldn't have any say to it. So, like right now with Spider-Man, it's shared with Disney, so Disney can help make the movie, but Sony has all of the marketing rights and all of that and everything to do with it. I'm sure with a contract in between that says you must, acknowledge this and this and that. But clearly, Universal and Disney could not come to that agreement, or they would have been doing standalone Hulk movies this entire time. As far as I knew, they had rights to the Hulk, but not rights to a standalone movie. So that I wouldn't know much about. So interesting. And that, that's the type of stuff. And I started to look into these, licensing rights years and years ago. There was a, I forget when it came out, 2012 maybe, a Lego Marvel superheroes video game. It's awesome. It's like the Grand Theft Auto video game for Lego and shit. Literally, there's over 200 characters you can pick from. Every character has their powers. Ant-Man can grow, Ant-Man can shrink, the Hulk can leap across the entire city. It's so much fun, but a lot of people overlook it because it's Lego. But it's so fun. I still play it to this day. I have the updated version of it. It's a magnificent video game. It's got, Joe, and I'm not even kidding you, every landmark that you grew up knowing from the Marvel Universe, from the Baxter Building to the X Mansion to Fisk Tower to whatever, to Hell's Kitchen specifically. All these places, you're on a huge, giant New York City map. Think of Grand Theft Auto when you open up the map and you just see from end to end. That's literally what it is for this Lego game. It is, wow. It's massive. When you're down on the street, you literally are, it's like Grand Theft Auto. I can't even say any more than that. So, but it's got, not only does it have the Baxter Building, it's got all the Fantastic Four members. Not only does it, when you're in the city, you've got the Avengers Tower over here, the Baxter Building's over there, the Sanctum Sanctorum's over here, Spider-Man's apartment's over there in Queens. Like, it's so beautifully laid out. And then they even have the X Mansion, which is located in upstate New York. It's all the way on the other end of the island on this big, like, secluded, almost like mountaintop by itself. But aesthetically, it all bleeds together. Like, it's so gorgeous. And, holy shit, I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that. I just want to play that game right now. I don't even know where I was going. Oh, I do.
But anyway, the corporate tie-ins, I'm sure.
Yes, so they had every character in that game you could imagine. Every single character. Then they came out with the second game. At that time, Marvel, I don't know who owned it, but they didn't. So in the first game, like I said, you had Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man, Avengers, everybody and anybody. In the second game, there's no X-Men, there's no Avengers, and there's only the Spider-Man that the MCU can use. Apparently, they didn't come to an agreement, and that second game is absolute dog shit, in my opinion. It's fun to play for the aesthetic, but when you take away everything that made the Marvel Universe in that first game, and then you water it down in the second one, it's not fun at all. And then the world for that game, they took a chunk of Asgard, a chunk of New York City, a chunk of Nueve New York or whatever it is from Spider-Man 2099. They took part of a Hydra base. They took the Wild West and they just jammed them all together to make this amalgamation of like a weird ass world. And that's how the game felt. The game felt like a weird ass pile of characters that this is all you had, so you just made this. That's when I started getting like, well, how can they use them in comic books but not use them in movies and not use them as this and this and that? And it's just confusing, but it's so stupid when it gets down to the legal rights and stuff like that of like, really? Like, really?
No, absolutely. Transformers does the same thing with all the names on their characters because they've got to go through and they have to keep names alive and keep them trademarked. So they'll turn around and name some weird little Target Master, Jet Spark or something, just in order to keep a name. And we get zero continuity with characters most of the time. It's like, yeah, this is Roadkill. We had to make a guy, so yeah, he's a plane now instead of a car. Okay.
It's so cheap. It really is. But yeah, so I don't even know where this is going to connect back into Spider-Man. I don't remember where the fuck we even left off talking about Spider-Man stuff. But I know I was pleased with, like, you know, the Scorpion fight scenes and stuff like that. And I know we talked about most of that montage was just comic book cover panels and stuff like that. But it really would have been cool to see how Spider-Man fought those types of characters. Like, how does Spider-Man fight the Boomerang? That'd be pretty interesting to see. How does Spider-Man fight the Tarantula? Like, where the fuck do these guys even come from? I want to know where the Tarantula... Like, I know his story and stuff, but I want to see that in the movie. And another thing, though, these are the types of things that you won't tell us what happened to Uncle Ben, but you'll have us try to figure out how Spider-Man and the Punisher met off screen. That was... I was thinking this movie was going to be the first time they ever met. So I was excited to be like, oh man, how are these two literally going to interact with each other? And then when they were talking to each other, they're like, I'm like, oh, they already know each other. Like, I feel like I'm coming into the middle of a story here. I want to see that.
See, that's what I thought, that the Staten Island incident that they kept bringing up, was that in the Punisher series? Was that a Daredevil thing? Was that
No.
I mean,
nothing.
Was that in some Spider-Man movie that I totally didn't miss? I missed that part?
Nope, because even the last time we see the Punisher, Punisher in this universe, I'll say it that way, it's the John Berthal one. It's the same one that we just saw. But he just killed like a gang, like a mafia family and shit like that. And the last image we see of him, he's putting on his Punisher like vest, and he's getting ready to go be the Punisher finally, to actually be the Punisher. And they don't even give you an Easter egg of like where he's going or what he's doing next. So that's why, again, when I saw the trailer for Spider-Man, I'm like, oh, from the last time we see Punisher, you know, gearing up, this is where he's coming from, and this is what he's going to be doing. That's the mission he was about to go on, and now we're going to see him go on that mission. And then Spider-Man's just going to be like, nah. But it wasn't like that at all. It was, you know what it reminded me of? And we know these characters have history, but if you're going to emphasize something that happened off screen, you have to follow through with it. And this was the relationship with Black Widow and Hawkeye in the Avenger movies. All the times that either one of them would mention Budapest. Like, that time in Budapest? Yeah, I saved your life in Budapest. Oh, don't remind me of Budapest. What happened in Budapest? What the fuck happened there? Why are we, the viewers, only given a piece of information that you specifically gave us just for us to be like, well, it doesn't matter. So when that scene pops up, you don't even need to listen to what they're saying. And that's how I felt with this. It's like, why not have a flashback? Why not really go into deep? I mean, they did mention it. They did be like, oh, when you were getting shot at by gang members, I came in and saved you. It's like, why couldn't that have been in the movie? You showed gang members shooting up stuff. Why couldn't Frank Castle have been in the montage in the beginning and we see Spider-Man save him? Why not add that shit in?
Well, that's the thing. We didn't even get an explanation whenever they were sitting there yelling at each other. Because it was just, right. I saved your life. Well, you saved my life. How long am I going to have to? Yeah, I saved your... And it was never, remember that happened? No. We have to assume something big happened.
100%. It was like two little kids. It's like mom walked in the room. She noticed the vase fell over and broke. And instead of the two little kids being like, Mom, we were playing and we bumped into it. Well, this and that. You're not giving any detail. You're just yelling and saying words. And that's 100% how that scene was. Which I liked it because it's the Punisher. And I like seeing him, other than just being this, oh, my family's fucking dead and I'm going to murder everybody. I like the scene at the end with him and Peter, where Peter's like, are you crying? And Punisher's like, oh, no. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're a fucking dad at the end of the day, Punisher. Even if your kids are gone, you're a human. You literally thought you almost killed this kid, and that fucking broke your heart. And you're crying because you're fucking happy you didn't kill an innocent kid. And I don't care if you're the toughest guy in the world, that shit'll rock you to your core, man. Especially if you were a dad in a previous life, like the Punisher was. So I thought that stuff was cool. I don't know how the rest of the world has interpreted Frank Castle crying. What the fuck? Grow up. If the toughest man in the MCU can cry, then it's okay. It's totally cool.
That's right. Yeah, I thought it just like their immediate yelling at each other was just trying to set the tone of their. It was like a big brother, little brother relationship. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna be here to take care of you, and you need, and like even whenever he showed up, whenever they're fighting the Hulk together, I was sent here to take care of you. I told you to stay at home.
Exactly, and that's a genuine chemistry that those two obviously have, because it comes across the screen very nicely. And I know they're both in the Odyssey together, so I genuinely would like to see that, just to carry on more of those two people personally as actors. And yeah, Punisher was so fantastic in this movie, from having his battle van, his weapons, his house, his personality, his characteristics, his heart, his everything. It was my favorite part. And even the moment, I thought this was brilliant. Even the moment where, I forget what Punisher says, but he's trying to avoid fighting the Hulk. And Spider-Man even says that. He's like, are you just trying to get out of fighting the Hulk? And the Punisher just kind of looks at him and he's like, yeah, I am. And it's like, dude, you are so badass. And that's so fucking rad that they acknowledge that even the Punisher knows when he's over, like he's in over his head. And never in my life, dude, as many times as I've wished for, the Punisher to be in a Spider-Man movie based off of the old 90s cartoon, never in my day did I think I would see the Punisher putting rounds into the fucking Hulk. What? That's crazy. That's more cool. Like, that's way more cooler than having that little cameo of the Hulk in the Deadpool movie to give all of us, nerds, that orgasm of Wolverine versus the Hulk with Wendigo, from that first appearance there of Wolverine. Very cool. But this Punisher fucking literally just standing there face to face with this. Oh! Man, that's so cool in my book. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was a fantastic scene. How he just kind of pushed him around the room, and then whenever he goes, I should have brought a bigger gun. What are you gonna do? Tickle him to death?
Right, he did say that. He did say that. What are you gonna do? Tickle him to death? And you know what? That's Spider-Man right there too. Those quips, those in those moments where you're like, dude, we shouldn't be laughing, we shouldn't be joking. That's Peter Parker right there in the pocket of saying something like that. That's not the writers trying to interject comedy in the movie. That's literally Spider-Man would say shit like that because it's everyday talk. Like, what do you, really? This gun's not doing anything. You think a bigger one's gonna, like, it was very well written. Peter Parker was very, very well in this movie. There's probably certain things that I'm like, ugh. But overall, another really big thing that I truly enjoyed about this movie is the amount of time Spider-Man was in his suit during normal scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they got rid of everybody knowing who Peter Parker is. So, because to me, man, there is nothing lamer when you're watching a comic book movie and the superhero that you grew up watching was always in costume, but then they're walking around with their helmet or their mask off the entire time. It's like, no, man, put that fucking shit back on. So I really loved how much they emphasized Peter being like, no, my mask doesn't come off for anybody. Like, there were multiple scenes of that. and I really loved it. And one of the coolest parts was, because of how much they emphasized it, when they're in the hospital, before they show you Frank Castle sitting next to him, they show you Peter Parker laying in the bed with his mask off and the gloves and the mask hanging on the foot of the bed. And me, I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, they unwrote what they were trying to do through the whole movie of keeping his identity secret. And here by the end of it, that was foreshadowing. Now the world's going to know. That's literally what my thought was. I thought they were writing it specifically like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they showed the Punisher, my brain quickly told me, oh, no, Punisher's got him. He's keeping it a secret. Never mind. And I love that too. And then you got Frank wearing the mask and wearing the gloves, pretending to be Spider-Man in the mask so Peter can slip out. I'm like, this is so fucking cool.
I think all of that was meant for, I mean, you wanted Peter Parker to feel, first off, that sense of family with the Punisher. But
yes,
whenever he was in the crowd and I think he was absorbing that adoration for being Spider-Man. He was equalizing the two, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. He could see what Spider-Man brought out of people. And he, the entire time, all he did was keep his hands in his pocket and smile and look around,
Yes. And then there was one little kid. I think he waved to one little kid at the end that kind of like looked at him and winked, almost like without coming out and saying, I think you're Spider-Man. It kind of gave that little glimmer of hope of like, this kid believes anybody could be Spider-Man. That's how I took it. And that's what I believe, that just like what Batman always said, the mask is what, basically makes the identity. And it doesn't matter who's underneath the mask as long as you represent what the mask and the symbol means. And that was my little takeaway, just again with that little kid, because why put the little kid in there looking at Peter and winking? It's almost that subtle, like, I'm a little kid and I got more of an intuition, but I'll keep your secret, Spider-Man. And
yeah, it was a little bit of, because he gave him a little thwip, the kid
that's
did.
what it was, the little thwip. That's what it was.
Yep. And then Peter kind of gives him the thwip back, and it's like an acknowledgement of, yeah, I'm here. This is for me. And even if just that one kid knows it, it settles in him some sort of balance between that.
Exactly. It's showing him that affirmation without him needing to be part of something bigger, without him always having to chase, well, I got to be on a team. I got to have someone help me. This is now showing I'm Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And that's what was the best shit about the Sam Raimi movies, because you didn't have an overall universe where you saw Spider-Man in all these different situations. You really got to only see him in his New York City home. So it really, really bunkered down on how the city responded to the Spider-Man. And god dang, even the third one, if you watch the third one as a collective unit to the first two, they're a masterpiece, all of them together. If you watch the third one by itself, you're asking for trouble, because it's not a masterpiece. But they all encapsulate what Spider-Man is through the city, through the characters, through everything. And god dang, those movies are masterclass. And this Spider-Man was the closest that we've ever gotten to the Sam Raimi feels, in my opinion. I won't lie. I was 12 years old when the first Spider-Man movie came out. So at that time, I'm interested in girls, right? I'm going through all those, Now, of course, Peter Parker's way older than me and shit like that. But our mentality is the same of, I'm kind of a dork, I'm kind of an outcast, but I like girls and I don't know how to talk to them. So as the Spider-Man movies came out, I aged with them. So I was 12 when the first one came out. When the second one came out, I was 14, and I met my first girlfriend when I became 15. So when the third one came out, the story now is Peter Parker and Mary Jane are separating because they have a rift. I literally was going through that same stage with my girlfriend at that time. So that third movie has a totally different vibe to me than the other ones do, just because it's like, I know what the emo Peter Parker is going through right now, where he's, not the symbiote shit, but the trying to pretend that stuff isn't bothering him, to be someone he's not, because he doesn't want to show how he's truly. I get it. I feel that. Now, I aged in between that and this last movie. So much shit has happened, no connections in between any of it. This Spider-Man movie, the scene where Mary Jane or Jean Grey pretends to be Mary Jane or whatever and is faking it out, and all that emotional strings and stuff are being pulled. Before I knew it was Jean Grey, I'm sitting there getting a lump in my throat, because right now, I've never told anybody this, and for my own personal reasons. So this is kind of almost like I've been lying to everybody for a really long time, and I kind of have. But I've been in this strange on and off again relationship for the last 3 years, and that's where my dilemma is coming from, where I'm spacey right now. So when this movie came out and I went and saw it, all that shit where they're breaking up and they're together and the heart is there and Peter loves and he wants, it pulled me right back into being 15, 16 years old again and feeling what that 20-something-year-old is going through. And I felt that anger when Jean Grey admitted she wasn't MJ. I truly felt that anger as I was sitting there in my seat. And I don't care how this comes across. And I straight up, in my head, I go, even in the movies, women are nasty. Because I know what the fuck he felt. I literally have been in that position of thinking I've got the world back. And then you don't even have the world at all. The emotion got me. What they wrote and how they wrote it, it fucking nailed this guy. I was invested. Oh boy, I was invested. But it took me to a place I didn't think was in here still. I did not think Spider-Man will ever pull at my heartstrings again. Ever. And this movie did it in spades. Towards the endish, I guess, when Peter and MJ are now back in Punisher's place and she found that note. Maybe I'm in my own head and I was hopeful for Peter, and maybe I was hearing it in the wrong way, but to me, I kept having hope of, like, she's going to look at this thing and she's not going to remember him, but she's going to have faith that they were something once, and she's going to tell, like, there's going to be a positive to this. And there wasn't. They followed through with what they put in initially. Even if Jean didn't possess MJ in that moment, there could have been a similar outcome, because this MJ still does not care, or not care, but she's not connected. That shit breaks my heart, man. That breaks my heart, because as much as we've seen Peter Parker go through hell and high water, he fucking died. We can't deny, we have seen Spider-Man die in this universe. And he's come back. We've seen him lose Tony Stark. We've seen him lose everybody, whether they died or not. This is the most gut-wrenching performance of a Peter Parker and his girlfriend I've ever experienced. All it made me want to do when I was at the theaters was message the person I'm going through the struggle with and just tell them I love them. But I had to keep telling myself, it's not going to be reciprocated back. You're not going to get that energy back. And I said this to myself sitting there in the theater, don't be Peter Parker. So these movies resonate hard for me specifically. And I've said that before a couple days ago, of like, I personally really love Spider-Man, but I didn't think it would fucking hit me like that at all. Like, I was choked up and teared up at one point literal tears rolling down my face watching Spider-Man. I'm like, the fuck is going on here? They got the magic and they're working it, man.
Wow. Well, that is the deepest cut. That's the deepest cut. I mean, that's what they wanted to show, that it worked. Spider-Man, his sacrifice worked. And despite it, he got what he wanted. And you're right, man. Absolutely, through that whole thing, all I was waiting for her to say was, okay, well, this doctor cast a spell on me. Can we get it reversed? You know, just something, just that I was waiting for those words, for her to reciprocate in some way to show that but that little speech there at the end, you know, I don't know you. I'm sorry. I don't love you. Boy. Damn, you could look at Tom Holland and that Spider-Man character, you could feel it behind his eyes. It was like, ugh.
And you know, I like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. They grab me in a different way than all the other ones. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's a gut punch because at the end, Gwen Stacy dies. And that's the first and only time we've ever seen Spider-Man or Peter Parker lose his girlfriend and then see how he reacts after it. Now, I get choked up every time at one specific part. Not when she's dead, or not because she dies, but when Andrew Garfield is holding her and you hear it in his voice. And I truly believe this as an actor, and I'm going to say the same thing with Tom Holland and Zendaya. During the making of both that movie and this movie, both Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, who was Gwen Stacy, they were really together. They were a real life couple during that making of that movie.
Yeah.
So I could only imagine you're already putting on a performance of a lifetime, but now not only are you holding an actress and you have to pretend they're dead, but you've got to dig deep and pretend that the person you truly love, this person you're actually holding, you have to put that in perspective and be like, this could be real. I'd like to imagine an actor when they're working together so closely like that, so that way they can really lock in. So, like you said, in a weird way, I'd like to imagine Tom Holland is putting himself in that real position and imagining Zendaya saying that to him in real life, for him to get that true emotion. And I say I like to think that because I want to believe these actors really do perfect their craft, and that would be something I would try to dip my toes in. I'd be like, hey, babe, let's really put this performance out there like that. This is our real, how we would really react to each other if you die or whatever. Because it was the first Spider-Man movie, the MJ character felt very like, oh, she's just here for being told she's here. But they fucking, man, I was into it.
Well, I guess that's another aspect of changing a character's personification. You know, MJ is not just the redheaded girlfriend anymore.
Was she ever, though? Was she really ever redheaded?
Well, no. Well, yeah, she was. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was her.
Yeah, no, I got it. Well, you know what's funny, too? We get MJ, who doesn't look like MJ, but then we get Jean Grey and Spider-Man, who looks just like MJ. But yeah,
I'm excited to see how this all wraps up into the X-Men and just there's a whole ball. It's like this huge gaseous flaming sun heading towards us.
Yeah, and you know, I'm truly interested because we've been shown, and of course, we know we're going to get other versions of these characters, but we've only been shown so far in our X-Men universe in the MCU. It's the Fox X-Men they keep showing. This Jean Grey is our first recasted, this is our first recasted, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But non-original coming back character. This is the first ever MCU X-Men character. So I'm super curious of what direction they're going to go with it in. Are we going to see this Jean Grey in like the Doomsday Fox X-Men people for whatever reason? Maybe, I don't know. Or is she going to be completely on her own and not know that there's another X-Men universe out there? Like, this will be something you keep isolated. I'm uber curious. Uber curious. Like, I want to see what Charles is going to be like. Does Magneto find Jean Grey first and try to convince her, hey, come underneath my brotherhood? Or does Charles be like, no, come to the school of the gifted fucking weirdos? You know what I mean? Like, I'm super curious.
When does the end clip there? What was the timing? There was like 2 years later or something like that. There was a span of time there.
At the end of this movie?
Yeah, at the end of the Spider-Man movie, was there an expanse of time doing the spider tracker thing, or was it just like,
no, I didn't.
This could happen tomorrow?
Yeah, literally. It could be one of those things like, I don't know, if people want to say it's Spider-Man and he got warped over to Battle World or anything like that. Well, that's kind of a weird Easter or like end credit scene because we don't know, like, I don't want to say that. There's nothing telling us that Spider-Man is going back out into outer space. There were no little breadcrumb trails, and usually these Easter eggs pick up on something, or not Easter eggs, these end credit scenes emphasize something that had already happened earlier in the movie. It's now giving you a little bit more like, oh shit, I didn't think that was going to mean something. That's why I think with this spider tracker, why would we need the spider tracker to tell us that Spider-Man is out in space when after that end credit scene, you're going to have the words pop up that say Spider-Man will return? That's redundant. Yeah. I know he's going to return. Why do I need to see the tracker? Just show me where he's going to be the next time. That's why I really think it's not Tom Holland. It could be Tobey Maguire in the Doomsday scenario already. So that spider tracker could, lead us to Doomsday, sure. But I do not think it's Peter, or it's Tom Holland's Peter Parker getting sucked to another dimension or whatever, because again, we've seen characters get sucked through portals or vanish and then appear somewhere else.
Yeah.
Especially in the Spider-Man world. So why wouldn't you just show Peter Parker laying in bed after a long day, and then he just kind of starts to, pixelate, and then show him pixelate somewhere else, and then just throw the words up, Spider-Man will return? Because now you've given me a visual of like, what the fuck just happened? So again, this end credit scene, you're giving us information, but you don't have to give us a visual of what that information is. So now we can think to ourselves, well, this could be anything related to Spider-Man. But if you gave us... Yeah, go ahead.
My mind played that out the entire time, because like whenever he's making his inhibitors and all that stuff, I assumed that was Stark tech that he was using to create the inhibitors. Because the inhibitors had a Stark look to them. I assumed that was still Avengers type material, because did he even have a job in this movie? He wasn't even a reporter. He did nothing but was Spider-Man.
Dude, all right. These are the plot holes that I have a problem with. How did, from the last movie, everybody in the world forgot who Peter Parker was? So how the fuck does Peter Parker have a social security number? How does he have any of this information? I mean, I get he still has it, but how is it active? He was still living at home with his aunt. He didn't have a job. How did he afford an apartment? He didn't have any benefactors helping him buy or rent this apartment. Where is he getting the technology to build this shit?
Yeah, and then his like coziness with being able to just walk into the Avengers. Are we forgetting the fact that he was forgotten? Or, I mean, you know, how did he get the Stark tech? They don't know who he is either.
Yeah,
unless he's just Spider-Man. Well, I guess,
right.
you know, he keeps his anonymity throughout the whole thing, so
Yeah.
maybe that's,
And I was gonna say, we can buy into the, well, it's because I'm Spider-Man. But it's those things you don't show us that outweigh the things you do show us. And some of the things that we are shown don't fucking matter to me. Or I shouldn't even say to me, because they don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, yeah. How is this kid able to create a mutagen suppressor in his apartment with a 3D printer? Because at this point, anybody can go get a 3D printer, and now everybody can make something like that. It was super convenient, not unrealistic, but I would have rather have preferred him making like a serum that he injects than an inhibitor chip, because now that inhibitor chip, and maybe they'll go forward with it. Maybe that Metzger guy who was in charge of damage control, he didn't die or whatever, get caught. Maybe he gets that inhibitor chip, and going into the X-Men movies, when they start the human or the Mutant Registration Act, maybe that inhibitor chip is the thing they put on mutants to suppress their powers and imprison them. That could be something that is a plot device. But it was strange to think this kid, or I call him a kid, but this 20-year-old doesn't have a job, who's stalking people. How the fuck can he make a thing like this? And I don't know. I kept getting taken out of it at certain points, but I loved it at the same time. It's weird.
yeah. Well, one of the things I thought too, what did you think about Keith David narrating the little Spider-Man documentary about when the Spider-Man grows older and he gets molds and do this? And I was like, okay, who is he now? We've thrown another kink in here.
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Fucking retarded. Why on earth? And maybe this is logic out the window, but why on earth would you waste Keith David's voice for him as a YouTuber or a nature documentarian, and then you put that fucking voiceover in the trailer to make it seem like he was somebody important?
Could that be? Now he does so many voices, 10 tons of animated. Do you think they're trying to set him up as a Spencer Smythe?
No.
You don't think so? That was kind of my thought. I was like, because he was all spiders and robots, and maybe that was.
No. I think that was just a hook, line, and fish. We got fished on that one, because when I saw the trailer for the first time and I heard his voice, and then I heard Tombstone was going to be in the movie, I instantly thought, okay, now that I know who Tombstone the actor is going to be, I bet you Keith David is going to be the voiceover for him, because Keith David has that Lionel Lincoln presence to me, in my opinion. He would come across as a real fucking, I'm Tombstone and you're just a bitch. Just has that voice. And nothing. And you know what, my friend? I totally forgot Keith David did the voiceover until that scene. And then I rolled my eyes. I was like, no.
I didn't notice it until that scene. I actually was sitting there, I was like, I had to rewind it a couple of times, like, wait a minute. And I looked on that scene specifically to see if they had a video tag or this is narrated by, see if there was something written down that would say who this character is that's narrating this, but there's nothing.
Wouldn't it be interesting And I'd be okay with it because I already said I wanted it. But wouldn't it be interesting if they were playing the long game with this one and Keith David was Miles Warren, a.k.a. the Jackal?
Oh.
Because, I mean, he has a fixation with Spider-Man. This guy's working with spiders.
That would bring the Punisher. Oh, that could give the Punisher his whole, because that's the whole thing. The whole premise of that entire thing is he's being misled by the. Oh God, wouldn't you love to see that book brought to life?
Yes, yes, I would. Yes, I would. So I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said, and be hopeful that maybe this is what do they call foreshadowing, sprinkling in the breadcrumbs to bring us somewhere else, because I'm still waiting. Yes, look at him, boys. That's my favorite.
Good Lord.
He's my favorite MCU character. He's just the fucking best. But in Spider-Man No Way Home with Mysterio in the beginning of it, they have Aunt May presenting Spider-Man with some sort of award, and she's working for this company that's called Feast, Feast. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it is a company run by, I don't know what his name is, but his bad guy name is Mr. Negative. He runs this food shelter company and is this big proponent of, I'm giving back to the city. I'm this great guy. That typical government kind of bullshit, facade. So Aunt May in the movies works for this company, Feast. So this guy is there. This guy exists. Whatever his real name is, he exists because you're already telling me this place exists. And then in the third movie, they show a truck that says Feast on it. And it's the same kind of logo and stuff. So I'm waiting for this business type guy to come in and be like, oh, no, Spider-Man. Today's the day you die. Because that shit's going to be wild. This guy, if no one knows who Mr. Negative is, he made his imprint. I think he's from like 2015 or so. I think that's when they introduced him in the comics. But he made his imprint. He made his imprint in the Spider. There's a couple of them out now, but I think it's just called the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game. I think I have it. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. But Marvel's Spider-Man probably. But Mr. Negative is one of the main antagonists in that game alongside the original. Well, I don't think it's the original, but alongside the Sinister Six. So they put these little things out there. Either it's to help build the universe or let you know there's things that could be coming possibly. But man, I would be totally down for Keith David to be the Jackal. I'd be totally down for that.
That would be insane. And it's Martin Lee who was Mr. Negative. I remembered that.
Martin Lee. I know.
Yeah. Because I just thought about that scene, and they actually showed the character. It was the dude from Walking Dead that was supposed to play him, right? I think it was something like if that's the way I remember it, I'm not sure. But
ooh, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, those little breadcrumbs, they are there. If we want to look at them and think about them, we definitely can. And if not, well, it was fun talking about it because to me, you have to expand your universe through interconnected devices. You can't constantly keep making a new movie and then introducing a new character and saying that they used to be there. I had that problem with Peter and the police officer, Detective DeWolf or Sergeant DeWolf. I know she's a Spider-Man affiliated character, but how and when did Spider-Man become friends with the cops? That seems like a pretty important piece of information to kind of present to us. But again, just like the Punisher stuff, well, this all happened off screen. Well, then why do we need all those montages of shit that don't happen in the movie when you could have given us montages of shit that happened outside the movie?
Well, that is true. I mean, his connection with the cops, I kind of that seemed like a new thing. Like you were saying, this is a 6-month period, And since he's supposedly been back at, or not 6 months, but say he's back as the new Spider-Man because nobody knew he was Spider-Man. So that could be it. Maybe he just reinvented himself whenever he came back. He said, I'm still going to be Spider-Man, but, we go the whole, and he did anyway. It was at the very end of the movie, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes. It's just those little pieces of like, oh, if we saw maybe like a 3-second clip of like Peter meeting. Here we go. Let's say this, Joe. Let's say the Staten Island incident is the first time Peter meets the Punisher, and then the cops are involved, so that Officer DeWolf had to be there, and it's the first time any of them have met. You could have made that one fucking scene. One little scene. And that could have taken the place of the flashbacks. Or not the flashback, but the montage. And then we would have been like, oh, there we go. Peter went to a big gang fight where the Punisher was in a shootout. He was overwhelmed and overgunned, and the police were out, protecting the barrier and the around the perimeter and shit. So DeWolf happens to already be there, and we just see Spider-Man swoop in, take out the bad guy, save the Punisher, and then have a conversation with DeWolf and be like, hey, this seems like a start of a friendly relationship. And then boom, we're back in present day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you want the world, and I think this way with Star Wars all the time, we're always in the Star Wars pocket or universe, but we're always in the fucking Tatooine pocket of it. It's like, can we get the fuck away from Tatooine? And when we're on Tatooine, why are we not bumping shoulders with every other character we've met for the last 70 goddamn years if Tatooine is everybody's like, drinking hole?
Yeah.
You make this universe so expanded, but then you marginalize yourself by saying, no, we have to stay within this. Because it goes right back to the Avengers Tower. Why wouldn't there be a cool scene of Spider-Man swinging off of the tower? Because it's so fucking big.
And I mean, even the meetings with what's her name was just an invitation for more. I mean, I guess she gave it where she's like the liaison with the Avengers.
Yes.
She's like, yeah, because she said it over and over. Yeah, you're small potatoes. We don't really know you, but we know of you. You do the little stuff.
Right. Which, this has always been a funny thing because, Joe, to you, what do you consider small potatoes for a crime? This is fun. This is going to be a fun conversation. What do you consider, from how Yelena presented it, for Spider-Man only, what do you think a small potato is?
I think it would have to be anything above it would have to be an extraterrestrial threat. It would have to be something so massive that it was a world threat. Because they would be like, look, there's thugs, there's a guy who's got a mechanical rhino. So you should be able to handle that street level stuff.
Yep.
That's kind of my thinking. Once he comes in and he starts trying to convince her, this is a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So you're right on the money. When the way you said it, I was like, oh, he said it beautifully. With the extraterrestrial stuff or the supernatural or anything that's otherworldly. Because I got two things here. One, what does Yelena consider small potatoes? Because to me, if an armored tank is blasting through the city killing people with intentions on going and destroying a prison and releasing prisoners that have superpowers, that might be a medium potato kind of situation where you might want to just overlook it. Because would you have considered, we have to go to Thunderbolts now, when Yelena got hired in the beginning of the movie to go to that secret base to kill one of the other secret agent characters, is that big potato stuff or is that small potato stuff?
That is true. Those
criminals other than Ghost, they're all, I mean, even Ghost, they were all street level criminals. They're all street level superpower people compared to like what Spider-Man deals with. Shocker, Dr. Octopus, Hydro Man, the Sandman, elemental people. So I have always, even reading the comic books, I was always like, how the fuck do they differentiate what crimes they go and pick and fight? Like, do the Avengers, when Venom is causing chaos in the city and he's got symbiote slime all over and he's eating people, the Avengers are like, nah, we'll call Spider-Man. That's like his thing. I've always, so to this degree in this movie, it really set in stone. I'm like, well, what the hell are small potatoes? Because the original beginning of that Thunderbolts movie, that's very small potatoes. So
that is true. That is true. It's all individual character development, but yeah, it's not. Maybe that's like her role, like you said, as the liaison to go, nah, which is kind of good and kind of bad because it forces Peter to deal with it.
Which, this is the thing. If I was Spider-Man, I would have been like, Yelena, you're telling me to deal with small potatoes. I got superpowers. You're just a human. What are we talking about here? I deal with the big potatoes. I can thwip. I can jump. I can stick to walls. You're naked in a hot tub right now. What are we talking about? So I'm so like cynical or whatever with the way I watch these movies, because I really do look at them as like, well, wait a minute. If I'm told this is supposed to make sense, why does this not make sense? I mean, you could have simply had Yelena be in a hot tub in the Avengers Tower.
Yeah, and see now the whole premise of the movie, I give it a 7 because the last like 10 minutes just pissed me off. I was like, really,
It dragged on.
really, huh?
It drags on
to the ultimate conclusion of VMAX. Come on, that's what got me. I'm like, really, that's what it is.
Yep.
And I almost don't even want to say it right now because I want to leave that for the people that are out there, because that is such a huge spoiler to the whole movie. That
okay. That's totally fair. Because
I'm thinking of the Vault, with Iron Man's green soldiers and like,
I was thinking the entire time up until they showed Jean Grey's physical person, I was thinking she's locked inside the vault and she's using her mind to get people outside the world to come and break her free, like get her body out of that fucking vault. That's what I thought. Because what was in there? What was in the vault? There was nothing in it.
It was right? Fucking air conditioning.
Yeah.
It was the air conditioning unit.
No, not even in the vault. Not even in the vault itself. In the vault, that's where they were locked away. The director of damage control, because their office was a whole fake setup, and that's when it all dropped. And then she sees them on that outside, right? Isn't that what it was? She saw them on the outside of the vault when they were trapped in it, or something like that. But there was nothing actually in it. And but I mean, I guess you got to have your plot devices and your shit that pushes things forward. But I don't think making Jean Grey a mystery character was important at all, or having any mystery to her. The only people that's a mystery to are the people that still don't even know who the hell she is until you see her with the X-Men.
Yeah. And that's pretty much that picks up what I call the second half of the movie.
Yeah, 100%. This felt like a needs to be concluded still moment. So to have this big revelation of, oh shit, it says Jean Grey on this piece of paper. I'm sorry, but your comic book fans that are already watching this, unless you're a comic book fan and you're like, oh shit, could that be Mary Jane and they're doing something different with her? Maybe. I wouldn't have disagreed with that. But just of all of the buzz and the shit around it, it was not a surprise to anybody that it was Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And it really didn't matter that it was Jean Grey. Like they should have just straight out and come out and said it's going to be Jean Grey in the movie, because the whole emphasis on like, oh, what's the secret behind Jean Grey? It matters not. It really matters not at all. And it was a strange direction. The VMAX thing, man, I tell you what, that whole reveal of that was the same reveal I had of whatever it was earlier. And I'm like, oh, just, we go through all this trouble of trying to create this crazy interlocking story. And then we're just like, hey, wouldn't it be kind of fun if we just, the whole time we're hearing what's VMAX, and then we find out what it is, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
And I get the emphasis and the antithesis of why the reveal was what it was to Jean Grey. But again, she didn't follow through with killing that guy. So the reveal of what VMAX is, and then the big culmination of what happened to her sister, there was no outcome of it. She didn't even react to it. So it was really pointless to keep mentioning VMAX. Like, if she would have killed that guy, then that VMAX would have had emphasis, because then you would have looked back at it and she now can look at that VMAX thing and picture her sister staring at it like she did and using that rage to murder. But she didn't. So it felt like it was a very silly MacGuffin to have in there. Oh, are you still there, Joe?
Yeah, I'm still here. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. There were a couple of roundabout holes. And like I said, whenever I was watching it the first time and it cut off right as soon as the black Suburbans showed up, I was like, is this leading into a different movie? Did I finish the movie? What the hell? And it felt like almost the Spider-Man movie was done and we're moving in a different direction. And then I was like, well, let me recharge that. And I was like, oh, I was halfway through the movie.
Yeah, you're totally right. Tonally it doesn't feel different, but just the story felt like, oh, okay, this just shifted from one thing to another, like real quick now. And yeah, I kind of was tapping out the last like half hour of the movie. I'm like, all right, we're dragging our feet to get to the credits now. And it doesn't hinder the movie, it doesn't make it bad or anything like that, but it definitely does have its weird placement. But I mean, as much as we kind of nitpicked and put plot holes in it, you could do that with anything that's great. You could do that with Jaws, you could do that with E.T., you could do that with the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
But the movie overall is enjoyable. It's palatable. It's not something you're watching and you're just questioning every little detail, unless you've listened to this and you go back and you rewatch it and you see those points and you're like, oh yeah, yup, that was dumb. And maybe you might find things out on your own that make more sense to you than they did to us. I need to rewatch it again a couple of times to really let certain aspects of it sink in. But I mean, not once, I have to emphasize this, not once did I regret watching the movie. Did I think, oh my God, I wish I wasn't at the theaters? I am very happy I went to see it. I'm very happy that the movie exists, and I'm very excited to watch it again. And it is one of those movies, and it's like a murder mystery movie, right? Or story even. Once the real mystery is over from it, you really kind of lose the appeal of it. Like, it's like, all right, now we're just trying to get to the cool parts of the movie now that I know like all the ins and outs of it and shit like that. And yeah, I definitely will love to rewatch it again. But I do know there's going to be parts where I'm like, all right, I can go to the bathroom real quick. All right. But again, I have to emphasize it because I don't want people to think, oh, he's just fucking shitting on the movie. All movies are like that. My favorite movie, Tommy Boy, is like that. The scenes that I walk out of the room during my favorite movie are when Bo Derek and Rob Lowe are on screen and there's no Chris Farley. Why? Because those scenes are boring as fuck. Nothing against Bo Derek, nothing against Rob Lowe. But those are not the reasons I'm watching the movie. Spider-Man is the reason I'm watching the movie. So the scenes where Jean is talking to her sister, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. That's about it. But other than that, I enjoyed the piss out of this movie. And we do have another guest. First of all, I did not expect to go 3 fucking hours with this.
I was going to say so.
Which is fine. Totally fine, because we got a lot of fun conversation out of this Spider-Man. A lot of stuff that I personally was like, this is what I want to talk about. And it was very interesting. It put a lot of different perspectives out there for me to go with in the next one. But we do have an individual that would like to join. Let's see what his picture is. That's still Dr. Doom.
How's it going, guys?
Good. I thought there was going to be a Spider-Man image popping up, so I was anticipating being like, Spider-Man's here, folks.
Yeah, sorry, Ace. I had an alarm set for this, but I worked 13 hours last night, so
Hey,
I wound up sleeping through my alarm.
That's all right. When you get that 13 hours worth of money in your paycheck, you're going to be like, you know what? This was worth it. I hope, anyways. I hope that's how it works out.
That would be great if I wasn't paid salary.
All right, so I should have emphasized that first. Oh, well, shit biscuits.
Yeah, the extra hours don't mean extra pay. Although
Damn.
A lot of times they're shorter hours and they don't mean less pay. So that it all works out.
That is definitely looking at the cup half empty and half full, my friend, for sure. Well, you are coming in at the tail end of this, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the conversation. We could definitely talk about this kind of stuff again on Friday if we want. Not a problem at all. But like I said, coming into the tail end of it, I was going to push maybe like another 10 minutes, and that was before you jumped in. But we can push 10 minutes to let you kind of give us what you want to say about the Spider-Mans.
Thought it was a really great movie. I like that it leans into why, basically any question of why Hulk, Spider-Man, and Jean Grey are not in Doomsday are pretty much taken care of by the end of this.
Yeah.
They'll be pulled back in for Secret Wars. But one thing that a lot of people seem to have missed, I don't know if you guys touched on it, but MJ lied to Peter about not remembering.
With what part? What scene? Or how? I guess.
When she says the spell worked, I don't know you at all. I don't remember you. That's a lie. See, here's my theory. My theory is she recognized Peter at the end of the last movie, but she's mad at him or disappointed at him for not trusting them and not telling them, right? Because think about this. All Peter has to do with Ned is do their secret handshake, and Ned immediately recognizes Peter, right? That's not, that's Ned remembering Peter, right? Based on their connection. And his connection with... Yes. Didn't you see the way Ned said, after they do the thing, Ned looks at him with that shocked look and says, Peter?
But I said this earlier too, and I feel like there's some weight to it. He does the... I personally think he only says Peter because when MJ earlier in the movie says, Peter, be careful. And then Ned says to her, Spider-Man's name is Peter?
No, I'm aware of that, but the way he says Peter in that scene, it's recognition, not remembering his name was Peter.
Okay, so I'm going to emphasize this.
And not only that, but they immediately cut from that scene to MJ
shit, hold on.
They immediately
Am
cut
I still
from
here?
that. Yeah, well, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh shit! My camera went out. All right. I pressed the button on my phone to turn my phone off by accident.
So, but think about it, because it goes right from that moment of recognition with Ned to MJ on the exact same roof where her and Peter used to hang out.
Okay, but
why is she hanging out on that roof, like fiddling with her Black Dahlia, if she doesn't remember Peter?
That's fair, but
and look, she's mad at him. We've seen that when MJ is mad at Peter throughout all of these movies, he gets the cold shoulder. He gets Zendaya's ultimatum face. Right? And think about this. When she first confronts him about it, her attitude goes from maybe accepting to not accepting at all when he answers her question of was he going to tell them, with the answer she was not looking to hear.
Yeah, I guess, if that's what your opinion is. And I'm going to say
it's my theory, and it's based on the performances of the actors in the scenes. And every single person says I'm wrong. I just want to get it out there. So in 2028, when the next one happens, and the resolution comes, and we find out that MJ did know, I get to tell everybody I told you so.
So on that other side of the coin, when that doesn't happen, we all get to tell you you're wrong and your opinions are unvalidated based on what you don't know.
Well, but that's what you guys are telling me right now.
Yeah, but you, Prophet, you're the biggest person to not validate other people's opinions because you think you know more than other people. Why is what I say, my theory, wrong or not accurate based off of how you think?
When did I say your theory was wrong?
With Ned, why is it that Ned, the way he says it, why can't it be the way they write it to let you think that's what they want you to believe?
Maybe you're right.
That's why I have.
I'm just giving my theory.
But that's why I have such a hard time listening to other people, because other people are so definitive on what they believe based on what they interpret. That's really, really narrow-minded thinking. Like, I could be right, you could be right, we're both probably wrong. Ned could be doing something schemish. He could be the Hobgoblin all behind closed doors, and he's trying to track Spider-Man because maybe he truly does know who Peter is. Maybe he's mad at him too. There's all these backdoor conversations we could have, but we definitely can't emphasize I'm right. Like, no one's right. They take all these stories, an amalgamation of all of what we know, and throw it together. Look at like what I was saying to to Joe earlier. They took the scene right out of Civil War where Punisher's carrying Spider-Man to Captain America, put it in this movie, and had him carrying him into a hospital. Does that lose credibility to what that comic book scene was? Absolutely not. It adds to it in this movie of it's the same character, the same outcome, the same heart, the same drive. But if you would have told me Punisher's going to carry Spider-Man into this movie, after he shoots him, I'm going to think to myself, Captain America's in this movie? No, he's not. That whole scene, they've already done Civil War. So what I know, I got to put aside because now they're doing something different. And they might not even do what I think. Again, Ned could be the Hobgoblin. He literally could have created this spider tracker to be like, who the fuck is this guy? I want to put an end to this guy because Why would they make this comment in Spider-Man Far From Home, or the third one, whatever it's called, No Way Home, when Ned says to the other two Peters, wait a minute, your best friends tried to kill you? I would never do that. That's foreshadowing. If not, why put that in there? Because in the comic books, a version of the Hobgoblin is Ned Leeds. Am I supposed to assume they only threw that in there without any, reasoning? Am I supposed to just take that information and not do anything with it? Ned was also in that same movie, every freaking scene, wearing the colors of the Hobgoblin, orange, like a yellowish orange and a blue. Am I supposed to keep thinking what they're not telling me is stuff that I'm supposed to create in my head, and then the next time we see him, he's this Hobgoblin, and I'm just supposed to create the scenario myself?
Well, the whole point of them putting that in there is to put that question in your head.
Right. So, the whole thing of MJ sitting on that rooftop, I could validate that 100%. Like, why that rooftop? That's questionable. But she also wore that Black Dahlia necklace at the very end of No Way Home. Do we think she knows where she got it from? Or is it just a necklace she knows this is something I always wear? It could be questionable because now at the end of this movie, she is sitting there rubbing it, which would be like, well, you're writing her rubbing that necklace for a reason. She could be rubbing her ear. She could be picking her nose. But you got her holding that specific necklace. So 100%, I could go with you on that. And I'll agree with you more. Why show MJ when they're all stuck in that Jean Grey moment? Why show MJ specifically crying when nobody else was? You could say it's an internal struggle she's having with herself in that moment that we don't know. But I took it as a distress call or something like that of this is a connected thing that'll come back at some point. Because it was too strange to just see this girl crying in that moment after everything else we've already seen up to that point with her. So I jump right on board with you with the Mary Jane thing.
Well, there's one more little thing. And one big difference between, your Civil War scenario and what I'm talking about, none of my opinions about this are based on comic books. The MCU's always kind of done its own thing. It's taken bits and bobs from the comics and gone its own way. But think about this. If MJ's really indifferent to Peter because she doesn't recognize him at all, why is she so mad when she confronts him? She's very mad.
Would you not be mad if you found out your memory was wiped too? That's a situation. That's situational.
But the whole world's memory was wiped, not just hers.
But they didn't know it. No one's going around and telling them that. She found out that she had her memory wiped. Nobody else on the planet knows that. So she's finding out like a secret of secrets.
But she gets substantially madder when Peter doesn't tell her the answer she wanted to hear when she asks, were you going to tell us?
I still take that as a situational thing. Like I'm finding out.
Well, at the end of the day, there's nothing we know about what's happening, right? So it's all just speculation.
Right.
So I'm just giving my opinion based on the actors' performances in the movie, what I think happened between them.
And that's fair. But again, though, we can't emphasize our opinions over somebody else's. I'm
not emphasizing my opinion over anybody else's. I'm just saying that I've been dismissed, with great rage by everybody so far for this opinion.
I don't dismiss you with great rage at all. I get dismissive when someone is expressing how they think of something and then it gets, there is no actually. There is no actually in any of this because like I've said, these movies are written specifically. They are written either to perpetuate the story or to perpetuate the characters for us to be involved with. We either care about what these characters are doing, we care about the stories, or we care about everything in between. I said it to death earlier, and I still stand on this ground. The fact that no Uncle Ben has been mentioned on a bigger scale than what Little Bitty was is absolutely ridiculous. Does it push the story forward? No. Does it matter overall? No, because the narrative is where we're at now. Aunt May's dead, Peter's on his own. That's really where those characters were pushing him originally, was to eventually be on his own. But there's certain things that are written a certain way that, yes, it leaves it up for interpretation. But even then, this is a big thing. I don't even know if these writers are writing for the next movie or for just the next scene. How many of these end credits have we seen that don't go anywhere? Blah. Or just empty conversations where it's like, oh shit, they just, the Black Knight was in not Guardians, oh my lord. The Eternals. Well, where's the Black Knight sense? What is the Black Knight? How do you just write that character into something, present that character, and then all of a sudden, I don't care if you got to recast him or not, you just don't even have that character. So what was your plan for that character? If it's
sometimes, like in that case, I think it's the poor box office that slowed down any production on Marvel Knights, because the Eternals was received very poorly,
which is okay. I understand that. I completely understand that. But the idea of almost 7 years ago or even longer, you introduced the Black Knight, and in 7 years, he's not part of a bigger story or anything. And it kind of, it's when they do it, and I'll wait to see it. But Nova, his story, from what I know, is he was a Nova Corps member. Thanos goes to Nova Prime, whatever their planet's called, destroys it, and he's like the last Nova Corps member, and goes out on this galaxy-wide hunt for Thanos or whoever the hell destroyed his planet. Well, now they're talking about going to be doing a Nova movie. Well, Nova Prime or whatever that planet was got blown up 15 years ago. How, from what I know, how do you get to this point now? How do you get to the next spot without even ever introducing him or mentioning him? And again, I know it's all the writing. Like, they don't know what they're doing 10 years from now from 10 years ago. I give them a huge pass on that. But it's just strange. Do they know what they're writing or what they're like? For instance, is Charlize Theron actually going to be involved in the third Doctor Strange movie? I don't know. Would I like it? Yeah, I think I would. I think I really much would. But they're so hit or miss right now with actual a follow through, I guess, that I take all of these scenes with a giant grain of salt. Giant grain of salt. Like I said, and this will be interesting, where do you think the Hulk went, Prophet?
Well, they've already said that the Hulk's in an asylum right now.
Right, okay. But do you think it's a Avengers orchestrated kind of asylum, or do you think it's that Department of Damage Control asylum where it's going to be something problematic, or do you think this is just a quick way to say Hulk is out of the picture for the next movie?
I think it's a quick way to say Hulk is not in Doomsday.
Which I agree, but I was hoping there was more from it. I was hoping that this evil government thing was a bigger conspiracy of villainy or something stupid like that. Because I look at every little thing now as something. Shit, even when I was watching Venom 2, when Cletus Cassidy squishes a spider. Why do you put that in there? There's no Spider-Man in this movie. Why are you making me think about Spider-Man in a movie that doesn't have Spider-Man in it? And of course, that's just what they want to do. They want you to think of that stupid shit. So I don't even know why. I don't know why you'd want to emphasize stuff like that, knowing you're not going to be able to do it.
Well, because they want people talking about the movies.
which I guess is fair, but man, in the overall scheme of things, I think that shit hurts your movie. Like when they did the Morbius trailer and they put Spider-Man in the fucking trailer, his picture and stuff. Man, you got all the wrong attention on that movie, and then it got all the worst reception I've ever seen, which sucks.
Yeah, that Morbius movie was bad.
And you know what really sucks about that Morbius movie, my friends? I gotta be careful. My daughter, and you can make fun of her and say she's got bad taste. My daughter loves that movie. So every now and then, I have to watch it. I'm sorry I let y'all down, because it's not a
I
good
understand.
movie.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way with Craven. I like the Craven movie.
Oh, I was gonna say I like Craven too. I kind of did like that one.
You know, I actually kind of wish the Craven movie had done better, because I'm trying to build a live action Sinister Six, and it sucks that I can't. That the movie didn't do well enough to get a figure for it, so I won't be able to do the original lineup because Craven was one of the original members.
That's, oh man. And I'm sure you could get Aaron Tyler Johnson's face from something else, but that body you need.
Yeah, well, you know, you could, I guess, if you really wanted to, you could get like a comic book Craven and put the MCU Quicksilver head on it.
Yeah,
that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. But yeah, it's not the same. It wouldn't be the same outfit. Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
so when that Craven movie came out, I was like, please be good, please be good, please be good.
You know what? I can't disagree with that, because a Craven figure from that movie would have been badass, because his look on point. I would have rather, for whatever reason, just because of the cartoon, I would have liked him to have like the more mutton chop and just goatee look, but that's a preference. But other than that, I enjoyed the movie too. The only shit I didn't like was just how bad the CGI was with the Rhino. I was like, you guys could have done better.
What is it that's so hard to do about rhinos? They have the same texture as a dinosaur, and Jurassic Park did dinosaurs perfectly.
My thing is,
right? Because think about it, the rhinos look terrible in Black Panther too.
The rhinos in Jumanji probably look better, to be honest with you. But the biggest, weirdest thing with the rhino in that movie, Google it, check out an image, his pants. He still wears his pants and they don't rip. I mean, how do you turn into a rhino and you're unproportioned? It's weird. It looks so stupid. I would have rather have had a big naked rhino man. You know, you don't have to give him his anatomy. You could tuck it all and hide all that shit. And
right,
but
take the Zootopia nudist colony approach.
There you go, exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, they could have, at least with the Hulk, as he gets bigger, his clothes, you see them, tear. They don't just linger on him and just get bigger with him. But every time I see it, I'm like, dude, why did they not make his pants rip away? Like, it's literally a CGI rhino in CGI pants. It takes me out every time. And Rhino's one of my absolute favorite Spider-Man villains. And, whatever, I guess.
Thinking about that, it's
and they've got him
like a pair of Dockers.
What's that, Joe?
It's like a pair of Dockers.
Yeah, it basically was. They were a little stretchy for him.
The real shame here is Sony has now tried to do Rhino twice and messed him up twice.
Yeah. And they did both versions of him, essentially. The Ultimate and then the original, kind of. I mean, yeah. Which, fuck, man. I remember the first time I saw the trailer for Amazing Spider-Man 2, and they end the trailer with Spider-Man whipping the sewer lid at Rhino. I 1,000,000% remember saying to my friend, that's the very end of the movie, dude. They're gonna fade to black right there at that scene. And I was so pissed that I was right. Because that mechanical Rhino suit, man, if you had, I don't want to say Kingpin, but if you had a Kingpin character that was more of a Let me pull the strings. Or even the bad guy that worked at Oscorp. You didn't have to have Green Goblin in there. You could have had just Professor Strom or some other bullshit bad guy. Him making superpowered people. I would have rather have seen the Rhino as a villain alongside Electro than the Green Goblin. Imagine the Rhino and Electro fighting together, fighting Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has to stop the Rhino first. Or no, he stops the Rhino first, breaks the power grid or whatever off of his fucking suit. So now the Rhino is just a powered down suit. Oh, but this is their first battle. So then Electro's like, oh, hell no. And electrocutes the suit and recharges it. So now it's fucking supercharged Super Rhino. And now Spider-Man has to figure out, shit, I got to stop Electro first, and then I got to stop Rhino. It just would have been a really cool balance of making your villains work without being like, oh, here's Norman Osborn. He's on his deathbed, but nope, we never mentioned him in the first movie. Here's Harry Osborn, Peter Parker's childhood friend. We never mentioned him in the first movie, but these are our big bads. These are the antagonists. It's like, I just don't like that, clearly. I have a repetition of not liking shoehorning things in, clearly.
Right. Like people look at the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man universe with rose-tinted glasses, I think, because if you genuinely sit down and watch those movies, there are many, many flaws in them. There are a lot of good things in them too, but there's a lot of flaws as well.
Many, you're 1,000,000% right. Many, many, many things wrong in those movies. And I think I said this the other day. That's why I appreciate even the bad movies, because there's something we can all take. I mean, Joel Schumacher, I don't know what else he directed other than those Batman movies. They're dog poo, but we can take something from both of them and find, like, this is what we enjoy about it. And that is 100% those Andrew Garfield movies. I love the second one because I think they actually nail a really good relationship between Peter and Gwen, which develops in a really interesting way by the end of the movie that I genuinely was like, shit, I want to see this version of Spider-Man now in the next movie. I want to see a heartbroken, lost Spider-Man. Where does he go next? That was my emphasis.
I feel like Sony has the same the Sony Spider-Man universe has the same problem that the Zack Snyder DC universe had. They tried to cram too much in too fast, trying to catch up with the MCU. And it's like, you can't catch up with the MCU. There are 40 plus movies in, like 15 TV shows. You can't catch up with them. Just develop at your own pace and stop trying. Because, like, even in that second Spider-Man movie, they show that room in Oscorp with all the Sinister Six pieces.
Yes.
Right? It's like, dude, why are you shoehorning this in? Right? None of these villains have even been introduced, and you're showing us their gear? Like, come on,
man. Exactly. And I'm not opposed to a company having these things in development and creating these things, but the best way I can say it, in the original Tobey Maguire movie with the Green Goblin, nobody was designing to be a Green Goblin. They were making military weapons. And the owner of the company went and remodeled that shit, and then the city and the world labeled him a Green Goblin. When you're showing me mechanical arms, vulture wings, rhino suit, you're telling me that you're preparing already for a big battle that we don't know about.
Right. And you see the vulture wings and the octopus arms in there, that's like saying, that eliminates the backstory of those two characters, because now, they were corporate manufactured like a freaking boy band.
Right. So anybody could be those characters. And it doesn't matter if it's Otto Octavius or Adrian Toomes. So that's why, and I always thought this was funny, the guy that is the scientist in Amazing Spider-Man 2, when he's doing all of the testing on Electro and he's playing the the music, the classical music, that should have been the moment where you introduced Doc Ock, not as Dr. Octopus, but as a scientist that works at Oscorp. He has these mechanical arms because his test subjects are not people or things that he can physically touch. So he needs these arms to get closer to his specimens, and that's all you need to do to show, oh, okay, this is, because that's it. That's it. That's all you needed to do. But no, you're going to have some random doctor in there in a placeholder that could have been a Dr. Octopus, and not all these characters. Dr. Octopus does not need to be shown as, well, if he's in the movie, he needs to be the main villain. No, there are so many episodes of the Spider-Man cartoon specifically where it takes 2 or 3 seasons for Doc Ock to get out from underneath the thumb of Norman Osborn to become the villain. That's great storytelling. That's really cool progression. I like that. And so you don't need to, oh, well, we're introducing a new character in this movie. This is the only movie they're in, and this has to be the movie they're the villain in. It's like, no. Imagine Spider-Man. And at some point, we are going to get it with the Tom Holland one, because at some point, he has to go work for the Daily Bugle. It has to come up, right? Or no? I don't know. But imagine him going to work for the Daily Bugle, and there's no J. Jonah Jameson. Why put him? You could make him a grocery store clerk now. He doesn't need to be in that position as a photographer, because that J. Jonah Jameson character is a huge drive of why Spider-Man does what he does. And it's a strange thing of how I say they, but how we think they think. And I don't know. Like, it would have been cool if Doc Ock was somebody, let's say in the Sam Raimi ones, just for fun's sake, if he was somebody that worked with Norman Osborn. And then that way, when Peter sees him in the second movie, there's already a bit of familiarity there. It's not, oh, Peter, I like you because I have to. Like, your professor sent me to you. Do I love that Kurt Connors knows Doc Ock? Yes. That's cool shit. To have him reference him, that's that inner world stuff that tickles me right on my insides. Because now I can think, oh man, fucking Dr. Octavius and Kurt Connors, I bet they sat around thinking about like how to help grow his limb back and how to make these mechanical arms. Like, that's the stuff I can get behind and think about off, out of the camera view and stuff like that. But they get 2 hours. They got to tell a story. It is what it is.
Right. And one of the hardest things for them is they're part of the MCU, so they need to maintain continuity.
Yeah. Joe said that beautifully, right? I think you said that, Joe, having all of these different directors that you said coming in and needing to keep up with not just pushing your story forward, but specifically the MCU, like you said, Prophet, if you've got Kevin Feige or whoever, corporate wise being like, hey, new guy that's making Spider-Man, make your Spider-Man movie, but you have to have Jean Grey in it. It has to have the Punisher in it, and you have to have this in it.
Well, the way I understand it is they have a MCU Bible, and anyone who's going to go into the new, into the Star Wars universe has to, or anyone who's going to direct a Star Wars or not Star Wars, a Marvel movie, has to, freshen up on the MCU Bible and make sure they're not, doing something that contradicts something that happened or something that's going to happen.
I like that. I've never heard that before. I dig it. I like to think that, because there should be. I mean, like you said, you're 40 movies in at this point. You can have all your, people in the back that are taking pictures and making sure you were dressed like this in one scene, and we got to make sure you're dressed like this in the next scene, even though it's been 7 months since you filmed that last scene. We got to keep that connected. I like hearing that. I like knowing that there's a little bit of that structure on board.
Right. Because we can't have people J.J. Abramsing their way through Marvel movies.
Good
right?
God.
Because J.J. with that last movie, like he proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that he's never seen anything but the original trilogy.
Agree.
Because there's that scene in it where they're in the desert, like, and they're trying to escape, and the First Order stormtroopers they have jetpacks, and Finn's like, they fly now, and he's like, they fly now. It's like they've been flying since the Clone Wars, you moron.
Right.
But J.J. Abrams thinks he fucking invented the goddamn jetpack on a stormtrooper. It's like, dude, you did not invent that. It's existed forever, you moron.
If I got the color of the clone trooper wrong, correct me, but I feel like I remember when I used to play Star Wars Battlefront, they had the jet trooper in there, and he was green. Not his whole suit, but where they have like their yellow patches and their blue patches, he had the green patches. So yeah, that was way back in.
Well, I had bought a couple of those Battlefront stormtrooper jetpack troopers. The clone ones, and they had the yellow trim on them.
The yellow, okay. I knew. I have to go back, but I thought that I knew. But either way, my brain remembers that they were there way back when, 100%. So yeah, and I know we're not talking about Star Wars, but I have to say this because this is one of my least favorite things in that that last Abrams movie. And maybe someone will be like, "Oh no, those existed," but not to me. Where did regular horses come from? I've never seen a regular horse in Star Wars before. It was weird to me. Do we know what we're talking about?
Right. It's like JJ said. Yeah. It's like JJ said, I want horses in this movie. Well, but it's the alien world. Just give the horses dreadlocks.
Right.
You know, it's like, what? Like, dude, come on, man. And not only that, but they have them running on the hull of a freaking Star Destroyer. Like, come on, dude.
As it's at like an incline and shit like that. Like, no.
Right.
I thought the same thing. I hated it. I liked the characters. I like some of the characters in the last one. I like the nostalgia-ness of it, but overall, ooh, baby. What is up, Pop?
This is where they messed up, in my opinion, the most egregiously in that last Star Wars movie. They had when Kylo Ren goes back to being Ben, he has the vision of his father, right? And his father's like, "I'm a memory, son," you know, that kind of crap. And at the same time, Leia is dying. They should have had Leia appear to him and have it be her force projecting herself across the universe to talk to her son be the reason she dies, because they just established in the last movie that that's enough to kill a Jedi, because Luke died right after force projecting himself across the universe. So it's like, why would you establish this Jedi power and how dangerous it is to use, and then just let Leia die for no reason on the table?
Because she had to float through space in the previous one, right? Or whatever. I mean, I'm right there with you, because I've always hated the Kylo Ren Han Solo moment in Force Awakens, to where that moment you're talking about, it grinds my gears, because why would Kylo Ren have a moment and think about a dead dad that he murdered, when the person that, I'm not even going to say it, you just said it, when his mother could be the voice of reason? You give Leia that connection to the Force that you tried to do when she was floating through space, and now you could probably give it a little bit more credit. 100% Prophet. And
right, and it's all because Abrams runs around like he's on a gallon of caffeine at all times, right? You could just tell when you're listening to this guy talk, when you see him on set giving direction, he is not paying attention to anything but himself and what's in the lens. That's it. He's just a very poor director. Like, he's, in my opinion, he's only had one great movie.
Oh, let me guess what it is. I want to guess. I don't know if he did it, but I got two of them. Was it Chronicle? Did he do Chronicle?
No, he did not do Chronicles.
All right, Super 8.
Super 8, that's the one.
That's the one I thought you would say. Okay.
Yeah, Super 8's a great movie.
Yep.
But the guy he proved with Lost that he can't write an ending. So why they gave him the ending of the most greatest franchise ever? Like, it makes no sense.
Is J.J. Abrams the creator of Lost?
Yes, he is.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, he's also the creator of Alias.
I knew that one.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that.
See, I knew those because, his name is basically in the titles of both of those two.
See, okay,
right. And
I'm
Lost's
ending
ending was just the worst.
I'm going to date myself on this. So when Lost came out, I wasn't into, like, big production shows or anything. I was still watching, like, Married with Children and stupid, immature shit. I wasn't into really interesting stuff. So when I would watch the show Lost, it was literally like flicking through a channel and it's already on and I'm just catching what's going on in the middle of it and just kind of, oh, this is kind of a weird show. First time I ever heard of J.J. Abrams was the Star Trek movies. That's the first time I ever heard of him. I knew he did Alias from learning, hearing his name through Star Trek. I did not know he did Lost. Wow.
Hey, but I don't blame you for watching Married with Children over Lost. Al Bundy did his work teaching young boys how to insult people properly.
Man, that show is chef's kiss. That's one of the best sitcoms of all time. It felt so real. Like, these felt like your next door neighbors, your genuine next door neighbors, or your aunt, your uncle, or someone you truly fucking knew. And oh my God, Married with Children is one of my it's one of the best sitcoms of the 90s. I don't know if it was in the 80s, but definitely from when I was a kid in the 90s.
Yeah, Al Bundy will go down in history as one of the all-time greatest roasters.
Yeah, oh my God, the delivery of Ed Neal is insane. The guy he's underrated. I know he's in, actually, I don't know if that show's even a thing anymore. Where was the show he was on?
Was it like Modern Family or something like
that?
No, not Modern. Was it Modern Family?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he's married to the young Spanish lady.
That spicy lady. Yeah, he was good in that too. I mean, he felt like
is that Sofia Vergara? Is that who that is?
Yes. Out of fear of mispronouncing that name, I'm never gonna say it. It'll sound like I'm just kind of chewing on my tongue. But I got it. There, I tried it. But yeah, Ed O'Neill, great shit right there. But yeah, we got into Star Wars, which I don't mind at all. Now, before we do wrap it up, I want to ask what your thoughts are, Prophet, on what the end credit scene might entail.
Okay, this might be a little blasphemous. I did not see the end credit scene.
Oh, okay. All right, so we'll fill you in. There's nothing visually insane about it. It's literally just, so when Ned has his little Spidey tracker, at the end of the movie, they don't show anybody holding it or anything. It's just the screen itself as the Spidey tracker, and they're showing New York City, and they're showing the Spider-Man logo, and it's like, Spider-Man's here, Spider-Man's here. And then the camera, like the screen on the phone itself zooms out. So now you see Earth. So it is implying that we're looking at this thing from a possible satellite, which makes sense anyways. And so here's Earth. The camera doesn't look over, but it like side scrolls. As it's side scrolling, it happens so fast. There is like a glitch on the screen that looks like the glitch from Into the Spider-Verse almost, where it's like that purple pink kind of thing. And then as it's doing that, it's still scrolling over, and now we go past the moon and we're out into the vast emptinesses of space. And then a Spider-Man logo pops up in the middle of outer space, and then it says, Spider-Man's here, Spider-Man's here. And then it's the end. And then at the end of it, all it says is, Spider-Man will return.
Right.
And it just says Spider-Man will return. It doesn't say
in Doomsday like it has for most of the other characters that have had the
Right,
return.
and it doesn't say
the theory, not my theory, but the theory that's out there is that that's Spider-Man getting pulled into Battle World for Secret Wars.
Right. That's what we also kind of came to the general consensus. That's what most people are probably thinking and interpreting, which is very valid. It's super valid because that's where the story's kind of going. If we know where
right. That's what Secret Wars will take place.
Right. Exactly. And since we've already kind of, I don't know, has Marvel come straight out and said Spider-Man will not be in Doomsday? Have they said that? Or at least
yes, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is not in Doomsday.
Okay, so this could be the next progression of where we see the Tom Holland. Absolutely makes sense.
Right, and I think we'll get. I think that, like, this is speculation, of course, but just judging on what Marvel's done for the past 15 years. Right, I think that in the Vision show, we're going to see the teleportation to Battleworld, like in effect at the end of that show, because I think Vision will also get pulled to Battleworld. But instead of seeing it like on a Spidey tracker, we'll see what actually happened to him.
See, I'm constantly forgetting about Vision Quest, constantly. And I never think of it as a buffer of could it have something in between. I don't even consider it because I always forget about it. So that puts a different point or perspective that could come in play for sure now. Absolutely. So is that what you believe too, though? You think that this is Tom Holland Spider-Man possibly being shown in the Battle World?
Yes. From everything that's been described to me about the end of the film, especially to the little purple glitching from into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Because that insinuates being pulled to a different universe.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And that's
and Battle World will be a separate universe.
Oh, completely. Now, could it possibly be an idea of, I don't remember specifically Ned saying that this spider tracker tracks just this Spider-Man. Not that I would think he thinks that there's more out there, but it was never specified or said this only tracks you. Could we possibly, since I'm gonna air quote it because I don't know, but since we think Tobey Maguire is going to be in Doomsday, do we think this spider tracker might possibly be picking up Tobey Maguire, since Tobey Maguire has already been in the Tom Holland MCU? So maybe this spider tracker is familiar with that specific Spider-Man DNA, or however Ned figured it out. And we're seeing...
Yeah, that's some speculation I have no opinion on. It could be, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I have no idea. I don't have enough information on that to speculate.
No, me neither at all. But I'm trying to take how these end credit scenes usually try to set up something for the next film. That's all I was thinking, was like, what if this is, because that little purple glitch, what if this is Battle World, but it's not the Tom one? What if we get over there and Miles is over there, or Nick Cage from the Spider Noir show is over there? Like, I love the idea that now there's so many Spider-Men out there that it doesn't just leave us with, it has to be the Tom. It could be. I'm not saying it's not, but I love knowing it's not just a multiverse thing. It literally is. No, we got all these different Spider-Men, and they could interact. They might not.
Well, the only little piece that I can add to that to maybe encourage speculation in one direction or another is that Tom Holland is now a producer on the Spider-Man movies for Sony. Like, he is literally a producer on them, and he has been pushing to get Miles introduced into the MCU.
Well, did they not? Was Aaron Davis Miles' uncle, was he not in Spider-Man Homecoming? Is that not who?
Yes, he was, and he said at the time his nephew was 11 years old.
Okay, so we definitely are. We're at that threshold now where Miles is at that age where he would become Spider-Man. I'm fucking for it, baby. I'm for it. And this, because we were talking about Miles earlier.
Yeah, but you would also have to make the addendum to make sure he's not too old to be Miles. You'd have to put the addendum in that he was one of the people that got dusted by Thanos and brought back 5 years later.
5 years later.
Because that could account for 5 years worth of aging not happening, right? Because think about this: the next Black Panther movie is going to have a full-on adult Black Panther,
which is
And the last time we saw the kid, he was like a 3-year-old toddler.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So if Black Panther's like going to be that old, and you don't want Miles to be in his 30s, you have to say Miles was blinked out by Thanos and brought back.
Which would be a really great backstory for somebody that hasn't already been introduced. Like, if Miles' backstory was, I got blipped out of existence and now I'm a Spider-Man, I want to make sure that shit never happens again. Like, that could be his crutch of, not just, because there's villains everywhere. Like, that's a really big proponent of somebody to want to change their life in a progressive way. Like, for instance, we had Baron Zemo want to kill all the Avengers because Ultron used Latveria. I'm sorry. Where the hell were they in Avengers 2?
Sokovia.
Ultron used that Sokovian base as like a floating ship or whatever, right? And it killed hundreds of thousands of people. So if somebody can use a traumatic event for the reason they're a villain, why not have the reverse of it? Like, where it's a traumatic event and we get the hero from it. And Miles, based on what you just said of having to have that age gap, that fucking fits the bill right there. That literally is perfect.
And another thing, like when people got brought back from that, right? When Hulk brought everybody back from the snap, if you remember, they showed it in WandaVision a bit, where people were being blinked back into existence in the exact place where they disappeared.
Yeah.
So like, the idea that like furniture or people could be standing where they were standing when they got blinked back in. You know what I mean? What if Miles was at school when he got blinked out, and then he blinks back into the school and what was a classroom is now a science lab, and that's where his spider is. Yes.
That's the type of shit I like. That's the type of shit I wish these writers were thinking about, because that's for one, you're taking Miles, who when it was originally created, he was not in Earth, the main MCU. He was an Elseworld type character, and then the ultimate shit brought it all together. So that's a really great way to kind of alter his origin without being like, let's just rewrite it for the sake of rewriting it. That's a really, really fucking smart way of doing it. Because you're right. When they were showing people blip back in, they were showing them blip, boop, right where they were 5 years prior. And shit will change in 5 years, 100%, especially in that universe.
Right.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, and incidentally, the comic books, in the comic books, it is Secret Wars, the Secret Wars crossover that brings Miles and Spider-Gwen into the main MCU.
There we go. Now, okay, I did say this off of just, it's strange that you would cast this person. Now, Peter Parker's, I don't want to say roommate because it's not, but is the girl that lives in the same apartment complex with him, the blonde girl. Do we think maybe that's a Gwen Stacy, or are we reaching maybe? Are we trying to reach for something?
Well, somebody, there've been other people speculating about that being a Gwen Stacy, but Marvel has confirmed it's not.
You bitches! I was so confident that it was. No. Huh,
Well,
I
I actually have a notion of who I would like it to be a little more, right? And
Black
I
Cat.
only say this because she was a pretty attractive blonde woman. And I think it would be fun to find out in the next movie that her name is Felicia.
Felicia Hardy. I'm
Right?
okay with
That
too.
would be very cool.
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So but that's I think a lot of the time, a lot of the things that they put in these films, right, are just Easter
100%.
eggs, and they move forward with them based on the public reaction, right? Because thanks to YouTube and TikTok and the internet, there's thousands of people giving their opinions. You know what I mean? It's like it's like back in the day, they used to have somebody walking through the mall with like 3x5 cards asking people to take a survey for $3. Right. But now the internet's giving it to them for free.
That's funny to think of it like that. I haven't thought of that shit in a long time like that. Absolutely. Well, even with and it's easy to do when you're watching, like, I don't know, if you're watching Rambo, you're not going to put references in there of other things because it's not really making sense to what Rambo's doing. So with Spider-Man, all of us do it. Anytime, let's use Gwen as the example again. Anytime any of us see a blonde-haired girl in Spider-Man, we immediately think, that's got to be Gwen Stacy. It has to be. Now, I'm guilty of this, and they did it on fucking purpose. Avengers Endgame. I don't know if any of you have ever caught this, but in Avengers Endgame, when Peter comes back from the blip and they're showing everything, normal, and he goes to school and he sees Ned in the hallway for the first time in years, or since it's happened, and they're doing their high five and then they hug. There's a girl in that same scene. She's got a blue jean jacket on. She's got a pink little backpack on. She's got blonde hair, and it's kind of similar to the way it looks in Into the Spider-Verse, where it's kind of off to one side. You never see her face. She's wearing a black mini skirt, and on the black mini skirt, the design of it is nothing but spider webs. So it's like,
yeah, that was probably a Spider-Gwen, Easter egg.
Yep, and I can't help but look at it that way. It's like, you sons of bitches, you knew what you were doing. And then a really neat little Spider-Man Easter egg in Avengers Infinity War. There is a scene when Tony Stark, I don't want to say Iron Man, when Tony Stark is coming out of the Sanctum Sanctorum, and that's when Ebony Maw and whatever the Cole Obsidian are coming to the city for the first time, and all the people are running, through Tony Stark as he's trying to get his way through everybody. There's one guy that's dressed. He's got his hair kind of flipped up. He's got black glasses on like mine. He's got a white t-shirt. I don't know if it's a t-shirt, but he's got a white shirt on. He's got like a satchel and a brown, light brown jacket. This is a deep fucking Easter egg for me. That guy, coincidentally or not, is dressed exactly to a T like Andrew Garfield in one of the scenes in Amazing Spider-Man 2. When Peter finds his dad's glasses and puts them on, my brain, for whatever reason, tells me that's Andrew Garfield in that movie right there, and he's running away from Thanos.
That to me is probably more along the lines of just one of the Easter eggs they stick in to give you a little wow moment, not something they're gonna build on, right? Because look at what they did in Brand New Day when they were doing his montage of fighting all the different villains, Tombstone, Scorpion. Like, each one of those was a remake of a cover of Spider-Man fighting that villain from the comics. Yep. Right? Like Tombstone dangling him off the edge of the building, and Scorpion giving him the uppercut with his tail. All of those were like exact, not exact, but they were homages to those original comic book covers.
Exactly. And that's something Joe and I were talking about. We loved it. We appreciated it. But man, I would have liked a little bit more out of those scenes. But I did love them. They look great in real fleshy peopleness. And yeah,
right. And here's the great thing about those scenes is that's the type of scene where you could take a still shot, right, or a frame from the movie, and like the best use of it so far has been Deadpool and Wolverine when they were doing the Wolverine montage, right? Because you get the Wolverine on the X, you get the Wolverine with the Hulk in his claws. Like they did so many Wolverine comic book covers through that montage that it was totally worth. Even Patch sitting at the poker table is like straight up right off a cover.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
All they need to do was put the cigar in his mouth and have like his claws up, and that would have been exact.
Right. And even the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, like if you added Jean Grey to that shot, that's exactly the pose he's in on the cover of that Age of Apocalypse issue, where him and Jean are on the cover.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And then
the Old Man Logan, where he's looking down his hat, it's just a close up on him.
And the greatest comic book cover reference ever is the Cavalrine, wink wink. That was, man, I'm a big Henry Cavill fan. I loved him as Superman. So to see him as a Wolverine, that was pretty fucking awesome. Like, I don't know how anybody else felt about that, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. But if we bring Cavill into the MCU, like there is a character that I want him to play.
Captain Britain?
Yes, Captain Britain, because he's got the build for it, and he'd finally be able to do a movie in his own accent.
That's what I say all the time. I love people with accents, and they fill in some of the greatest roles because of their accent. But when they're relegated to use their regular voice, and I've said this before, Doc Ock was always presented, in my opinion, as like Eastern European kind of, because of his haircut. In the cartoon, he had like a German accent or something along those lines.
It's a fictional country called Latveria that exists in the vicinity of like Transylvania and like the Slavic places, basically.
So that's why I would have loved, and I know it's not the same accent. I'm not trying to compare it, but I would have loved it if they would have just let Alfred Molina have his accent. I think it would have made Doc Ock a little bit more of his own thing. And that it doesn't bother me. It don't bother me.
Little trivia. What was Alfred Molina's first movie?
Alfred Molina. It's not Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That is his first movie?
That was his big screen debut.
I knew he was in it, but I did not know that was his first movie. Okay, all right.
Well, he had been in things before that, but that was his big screen debut.
Okay. And a little fun fact about Alfred Molina, he has 2 little Lego minifigure characters, and I think that's fun, and I have both of them. I have the one from Indiana Jones and then the little Doc Ock. So there, that's all I got for Doc Ock trivia. Or not Doc Ock trivia.
I have his Marvel Legends, but I bought him a soft goods coat because I didn't like the hard candy.
Oh, I bet that looks nice. I bet that looks very nice.
Yeah, it's excellent. GPS Lot does great work on soft goods replacement coats for your Marvel Legends.
I have my original from 2002 Green Goblin still. He doesn't have his glider, and his joints are all fucking loosey-goosey. I have the original J. Jonah Jameson still, and then my original Doc Ock from 2004, and he is really not in good condition. He's dying, and I'm probably going to have to bury it somewhere because it's an embarrassment of a toy. If I showed that thing off, people would be like, what are you doing? Throw that out and get the new one. Can't.
Yeah, the J. Jonah Jameson's awesome. I love the way like everything on his desk is loose, so when he pounds his desk, it all shakes.
Oh man, when I tell people that, they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Oh, he's got like 10 different fucking things on his desk. They all have like these little peg holes where they're stuck in place, but they can wiggle just like a millimeter out of place. So when you press J. Jonah Jameson's hands, they smash on the table, and it rattles everything. And that was so much fun as a kid to have. Actually, Oh, where is it? Right here. I don't have the table or Jameson with me, but there's his chair.
Nice. Yeah, that was like a really great thing. It was world building. That old
Yes,
Spider-Man wave was world building. I remember Mary Jane in her Chinese dress. She came on that
the balcony.
that like balcony, and that balcony
Yes.
didn't have to crumble. You could have just stuck it on a wall and had it as a display.
Dude, Prophet, that's 100% what I did. As a kid, I tacked that thing up on my wall. I took a piece of like a fishing line, and I had Spider-Man underneath it, like he's, coming up a web. And then I had Mary Jane always standing on the top of it, like she was waiting for him, and he was just there. All for like 2 years straight, I had that up hanging up on my wall, just like you said. And one of the best ones was the Peter Parker, where he came like he was in this position, like using his web shooters and stuff, and it was his bedroom. And you would get like his dresser. I think you got like a chair and like a lamp. You got stuff you could knock off of his dresser.
Yeah, it was a bookshelf, not a dresser, but yeah,
bookshelf. Yes.
Right.
Oh, God damn, those Spider-Man toys were so cool, man. Toy Biz. Oh, you did they were so awesome. They were
really good.
They really were,
for sure.
For their time, absolutely. And especially, and you and I have said this before, for movie figures, they were really good, because at that time, for superhero movie figures, all we had were the X-Men ones. I don't even think Blade had movie figures until Marvel Legends made Blade himself.
Right. Well, and that Blade figure, here's the thing about the Blade figure, a little bit of history on it. It was designed by Toy Biz, and it was planned to come out as its own line for the movie. But then Hasbro bought Toy Biz, and they just released the Blade figure that they had finished as a regular figure in one of the waves, instead of making Blade's own toy line.
No shit.
Yeah. And that's why we got stuck with his tiny motorcycle.
His tiny motorcycle. I never had that Blade figure, but I always wanted them. And I
actually have that Blade figure.
Is it good? Like, is it a good figure?
It's good for its time.
For its time. Man, my mom used to literally call the fucking Toy Biz company corporate and shit, and always ask, hey, our area, my son is looking for the Dr. Doom. He's looking for the Blade from this. He's looking for this. Can we order these? Always was told, no, we don't do shit. Like, we don't do those things. And what world we live in now, where you literally can basically go and order that shit from the company now. But
right. It's definitely a lot easier than it was back in the day.
Yeah, especially too, like in my area, we had a Kmart and an Ames. Kmart was the hot ticket, and then the Ames store was like really fucking low end shit. But that's where the Marvel Legends showed up. The first like couple of them that had the comic books with them. I remember my first one was Venom, where you see Eddie Brock getting like, he's like underneath the Venom and it's getting like pulled off of him and shit. And but that Blade, I remember looking at the back panel of the comic book and or the card and just being like, I need Wesley Snipes' Blade. I have to have him, and never ever got him. So that's why when they made that new one and he's up there, I had to go get him, because it was that old nostalgia.
And I got that. I have that new one as well.
He's fun. I love it. I love it.
And I kind of took it like a step further, because I gave him a soft goods coat.
I have a soft goods coat, but it's too small. It's too small in the fucking shoulders, so it comes up about like that short on his wrists.
The great thing about this soft goods coat in particular is this is the Mezco Blades coat. So it's already, it's got the red lining inside. So it's already a Blade coat, but now it's on the MCU Blade. That Wesley Snipes looks fantastic.
I don't have any Mezco. Are they 1/12? Like, does it scale exactly to him, or is it a little snug or a little big?
They're Well, it's a little snug on the Mezco. It fits this one better, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
And it's wired too, so I can pose it however I want.
This is the only accessory I've given my blade, so don't judge me, folks. I think he looks awesome. Okay, so we all know that the Wesley Snipes blade in the movie did not use his katana or his sword or anything. He used like a fucking machete. So I went through my figures and found a sword that I think looks and fits perfectly in his hand, and it's from one of my foot soldiers from the Last Ronin. I don't have a jacket, so I gave my dude a hat. And the last time we saw Blade, he was rocking the Punisher's bazooka or rocket launcher. So here is my Wesley Snipes blade. He's got himself this sweet little fucking kind of like cowboy hat thing. And this is Marvel.
It's like Wesley Snipes went straight from his role in New Jack City to Blade.
Dude, this is my old man Blade right here. So, but this bazooka is actually a Marvel Legends Punisher's bazooka. So he actually is rocking the Punisher's rocket launcher bazooka, like he said in the movie. And then this is just the sword I gave him. That again, it's just from a foot soldier. Or no, I'm a liar. I didn't realize I switched it out. This sword, what a stupid toy it was. I bought one of those like fucking $3 Dungeons and Dragon figures from Ollie's. I think it was an elf knight or something like that. He has like long white hair and shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that, I don't know why I gave him this sword and took the ninja one away, but the other one was cooler because it looked like it had kind of like a mechanical hilt to it. Kind of almost like what Blades looks like when the little spring things come out of it and shit. So, but yeah, if you don't have this Blade figure, even if you're not a Marvel collector, go get him. He's worth it. And I got this bad boy for $13. So, woo. But I love it.
Yeah,
I want a jacket.
I got my Cassandra Nova for $13. I found her.
There you go. There you go.
I've literally bought almost that entire line, the Deadpool and Wolverine line. The only figure that I haven't bought and don't plan to get is the sleeveless dirty yellow suit Wolverine, because I already have the other yellow suit Wolverine where it's all intact. But I do want to buy Wolverine like in his plain clothes. Because because the fact that you could see his like X-Men boots instead, like looking like gym shoes at the bottom, and he's got his Wolverine mask in his pocket of his jacket, like hanging out.
Oh shit! I never noticed that. That's fun.
And he comes with Headpool, which is awesome.
Oh, dude, my daughter. So we just watched Deadpool 3. I don't know, maybe it would have been like a week and a half ago now. And she straight up asked me, she's like, Dad, do they make a Headpool toy? I was like, I bet they do. I don't know. But now I can definitively tell her it comes with Wolverine, and I bet she'll ask, can you buy him? They've
done him a couple of times. The first time they did him, he was an accessory to Lady Pool. It was in the Sauron wave. So you got Lady Pool with Headpool in one box, and then like Sauron's wings or something. I don't remember. But
I'd buy it. I'd buy a Wolverine just to get the Headpool. I mean, all I have is when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, they did their cups, and they had like these little fucking little statue things you could put on the top of your cup almost. It's like a little collector's thing. And the one I got was Headpool, and it's literally just like it looks like a little Funko head almost, and it's just that. So
nice.
I'm gonna have to look for that Wolverine because.
Yeah, I'm so deep on the live action Deadpool that I bought the Dope Ender taxi cab popcorn bucket.
Now, do you want that? I mean, I know you want them to make it. If they made Dope Ender, you're gonna get them, right?
100%.
Yes, sir.
Like now, there's a couple of characters from Deadpool that I think are not likely to be made, but I would love it if they were.
That
Dope Ender. Like my top three. Dope. Well, Juggernaut they might make. That's why I'm not putting him on the list. This is like movie figures that are not likely to get made. But I want Dope Ender, I want Peter, and I want Yukio. Because they gave us Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I want Yukio to go with it.
I am really surprised that with the Deadpool line that came out for the last movie, that Peter Pool wasn't like a buildable character or a character. I feel like that would have sold like crazy if you got Peter Pool.
Yeah, 100%. I would love a Peter Pool figure.
I definitely would buy it too, just because even if nobody knew, like if say I had a friend come over and they're looking at all my toys and then they just see this kind of portly guy dressed as Deadpool and he just looks like a soccer dad, to be like, what the fuck toy is this? It's like, oh, that's Peter Pool, dude. Like,
hell yeah.
What a cool figure to have. Like, and what a strange character, not strange, I don't want to say it like that, but like out of all the characters that they kept bringing back from like, you know, Deadpool and Deadpool and Deadpool, the Peter character, I didn't think he would have mattered in this third Deadpool movie. So that was a lot of fun. I like that.
Well, you're underestimating just how much Deadpool likes his mustache.
Hey, I'm not against a good old mustache ride. Okay, hey, if that's what Deadpool's into, that's what he's into. But I just like that they have a character that's actually like the Peter character. He's fun. When you see him on screen, you know you're going to giggle, you know you're going to laugh, and it doesn't have to compromise a character that's already been created. And that's, as a comic book fucking guy, I don't like seeing certain characters being derived from others just to fit this and to say we have them here. So it's cool to see they were able to do something new and still make it relevant and fun and matter. Because he could have totally been one of those things where I'm like rolling my eyes like, oh my Christ. And it's good. I mean,
yeah, if they made a Peter and Blind Al 2-pack, I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Oh my God, yeah.
All I would have to do is I want a Vanisher.
You got him. You just don't know it, Joe.
That's right.
Just hold up a little bit. Oh, you know what? Here we go. All right, so you see how I have this Ninja Turtle right here, eh?
Yeah.
Well, let's check this out, folks. We're going to make a custom Vanisher figure from Deadpool and Wolverine right here on this live. So we're going to take this Ninja Turtle. We're going to get rid of the turtle because we don't need an action figure for this. And you guys ready for the Vanisher? There he is.
No.
There he is. Straight from Deadpool 2. There is the Vanisher. See, that's all you got to do, Joe. You just got to
little
believe.
Brad Pitt. That would have been awesome.
Does Brad Pitt have an action figure of any type?
Oh, I'm sure. I would assume.
Prophet, your next mission, if you choose
I'm
to.
thinking that the closest thing I've seen to a Brad Pitt action figure there was a Tyler Durden figure, but he wasn't very posable.
I'm sure there's something out there, but that would be. It's stuff like that. That would be funny as fuck. Can you imagine going to buy the Deadpool figures, and they say to you, the buildable character is the Vanisher, but there's no parts in the box, and it doesn't cost you any more than the regular figure. But just as like, this totally seems like a Deadpool joke, and they're doing it on the toy. That's fucking hysterical.
Right.
Oh,
I've that's kind of been my mindset towards the transparent Sue Storm figures all these years as well. I'm like, if I want her to be invisible in the photography, I'll just remove the figure.
Right. That's exactly accurate.
And with video editing software, you could do a crossfade, right, yep, where she seems to disappear.
Right, exactly. It gives that illusion that it's actually doing it. Because I used to think it all the time when I was playing with my old Toy Biz toys, and I had the Sue Storm, the one that was in the regular clothes, and then the one that you had where you could get her wet and she would disappear. It didn't now I know we're playing with toys, but there was always in my head, I can still see her. Like she's liquid metal essentially. Like you can't really ever just get rid of that invisible. So as I got older and I would play with my G.I. Joes and use them as Metal Gear Solid characters. For people that don't know, there's a character in Metal Gear Solid. His name is Psycho Mantis, and he has the ability to, well, I don't know if he has the ability or if he has something on him, but he can go invisible and the player in the video game can't see him. So when I got older, I'm playing with those toys. I would have a physical character that I would pretend is Psycho Mantis, and then I'd put him to the side and pretend like my character is fighting nobody. In the aspect of, I can just use my brain and act like he's right there. So I'm right there with you, Prophet. My brain is so on point with that.
Right.
And for photography, I can imagine. For the photography, I imagine it looks weird. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in photography, like the only reason to use that in photography is like, well, I'm not going to say in photography, but the only reason to use it in stop motion.
Yes.
Right. It would be on frame for like 1 second in between the regular Sue Storm and nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It would be like a transitional, like Sue, if you will.
No, exactly. And they always make, maybe this is just me and they can't get translucent pieces right or something, but a lot of the Sue Storms that I always see that are like invisible always have like I don't want to say they're white, but a lot of them seem to have like a milky kind of a clear look to them. Does that sounds kind of odd, but
right. Well, they do that on purpose so that you can't see the joints through the plastic.
Oh,
because if it was crystal clear, you'd see the pins and
that makes sense. All right. See, I never had a problem.
I mean,
with that.
And look, that works on Iceman, right? When they do that on Iceman, it works.
And
you know,
they used to,
and so far to me, the best they've done on a translucent figure for the MCU, anyways, is the ethereal Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, I got that one. I love that one.
Yeah, because he's all like translucent blue.
Yeah.
So you could like shine a light into him, but you can't like see through him. You know.
Exactly. He's a very cool one. I didn't buy a lot of those Doctor Strange figures because I wasn't really into them, but I was trying to build one of the buildable characters. But that Doctor Strange, I was like, I love him. He comes with the necklace still, like with the Infinity Stone in it, so you do get that as like a little cool accessory piece. But that astral form version of him is very fun looking, and it doesn't get lost in the transparent figure part of it. It's got all of the detail in him if you look hard enough. It's very cool figure. I like him.
You know, another cool line for transparent figures, I actually have one like right next to my computer right now. The like bounty line for Star Wars, the Black Series. They got the hologram of the character. It's like all translucent blue, and it comes with the puck that lights up, you know, and it's the stand for the figure. I have the Darth Vader here. Now, I didn't get it to like have it be like a wanted puck for Darth Vader. I got it so that in stop motion, I could have holographic conversations with Darth Vader.
Exactly. You can kind of have it look like it's flickering and stuff or whatever.
Right.
Now, I know I heard you correctly, but all of those translucent styles Black Series figures, they all come with a light up base?
Yes, they all come with a light up base.
How much are those ones? Are they more than the regular?
I got the Darth Vader for like $23 on Amazon.
Oh, I might have to just buy one of those for that base alone. I mean, of course, I probably
really cool. And you know what's great is the base also works for like, you know, the Force Ghost Obi-Wan. Like it lights him up too.
I don't have anyone specifically I would dick off with that but that would be a really cool, just put a character on it and just, you know, like actually I just got this in the mail.
Well, you know, another thing I plan to use it for, because in Marvel Legends, they made a translucent blue Iron Man, like a hologram Iron Man. So
This
I can
isn't
put that
translucent.
hologram Iron Man on the base and have it look perfect.
Just got this in the mail yesterday.
Ooh.
At the
That's
Black Sea.
Maul from the show, right? From his show.
Yeah, the Shadow Lord. I do not, and I emphasize this, I'm a Star Wars guy. I love Star Wars, but I am not a Star Wars toy buyer. If I can get something at like a toy show, old school thing, yeah, sure, that's right up my butt. But I do not go out and buy Star Wars Black Series figures. Perfect example, I would absolutely find one that I like that's the translucent type characters that come with the light up stand. I would find whoever I personally like the most and buy that. This Darth Maul,
because they have Darth Vader, Han Solo, Bo-Katan. They have the Mandalorian, and there's another one I can't remember. They did not have the Emperor. If they had the Emperor, I would have bought that instead of Vader.
I would have gotten the Emperor just because I don't need to buy another Vader to say I have a Vader with the stand, because I have the Black Series one. And those are the only two Black Series figures I have, is Vader, or sorry, that's Darth Maul. Darth Maul and Vader, both of these characters, for obvious reasons, they are badasses. I don't need to say any more than that.
Well, you know what a good selling point for this Vader was, though? He has the same soft goods as the A New Hope Vader did, but they're translucent blue.
What?
Yeah, this Vader has soft goods, and they are translucent blue soft goods made in the same way as the A New Hope Vader.
Why is my brain hurting? You can make translucent fabric?
Yeah. It's just like sheer fabric. Think about it. When a woman wears nylons, it doesn't hide her leg. It just, tints it.
My mind is blown. That's awesome that they would go to that length and make his cape a soft, good fucking cape too. And
yeah, because that's one of the best things about that Black Series Darth Vader. That cape lays so perfectly. And the fabric is the same, like thread counts. So it lays exactly the same way as the regular one does.
Any of that Black Series figures like that. I just thought the translucent ones were supposed to look like a transmitter type figure, and I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. I don't want them. But now the Vader has the badass cape and a fucking base stand. That's what gets me to buy certain toys. If I was already hesitant, now I'm not. Now I definitely want a fucking Vader. Or I probably want the Vader out of all of them. Now that you said he's got the cool cape, I'm a sucker for soft good stuff, man.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And not only that, but like, you could use Vader in your photography a little more, like, why, like, you could have him physically there using the black one, or you could have him talking like via hologram using the blue one.
Exactly. Now, I might be just going overboard with my wishful thinking, but does the hologram character come with like a small hologram of themselves, or no?
No, they don't, unfortunately. That would have been a cool idea, but they don't come with that.
Yeah, right. So that way you got your big hologram Vader. You can put him on some other end of the Death Star, and then you've got, one of the generals or some shit, I don't even know, sitting there holding it in the palm of his hand, getting the orders. Oh, that would have been cool.
Right, because in the late 90s, either the late 90s or the early 2000s, they were putting out Star Wars figures with the little hologram character in the box.
I love it. I love it. That's thinking right there. That's brilliant. I absolutely love that stuff.
I tell you what, fellas, speaking of messaging holograms, I have been holographically messaged to go make some dinner. So, hey, learned fellows.
That we're going to take that, Joe. We're going to take your send off, and we're actually going to wrap it up. We've gone 4 fucking hours with this. We started off with Spider-Man, and we made it all the way to Marvel and some Star Wars. So people that are watching and listening, you got a little bit of that bonus for your buck. Wait a minute. You're not paying anything. I got to redo this. Right now, starting now is a membership fee. Everybody that's listened, you have to pay $5 for what you've already heard. This shit's not free, but it is free all at the same time. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. I think this has been a fantastic conversation about stuff. And Prophet, hey, no worries about coming in late. Working hours like that, we completely fucking understand it. So appreciate you jumping in when you could. I'm glad we went as long as we could, so that way the stream was still a little bit available there for you too.
Yeah, because as soon as I woke up, I'm like, oh shit, the notification's there.
Yeah, it happens, man. I literally forgot my local toy show was yesterday until an hour after it was already going on, and I'm like, oh my crap. So I get the being behind because life takes a front seat at times. So no problems there, and absolutely appreciate you jumping on. And Friday, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to be talking about, but if you want to talk about more Spider-Man, because there's a lot we didn't discuss, bring it to that conversation over there and then some, because we can keep carrying that shit together over there.
Right. The one last thing I'll say about the Spider-Man is this is the most ferocious we've ever seen the Hulk.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I want to say something real quick on that. I thought it was pretty cool because I didn't think about it. When Jean Grey took over the Hulk's mind, or the body, I should say his body, and you know for a fact when she's sitting in that office and you hear the pounding, woof, woof, we don't need to see that that's the Hulk. We, the viewer, already know that Hulk is smashing something. So that whole time, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know that's the Hulk, but why the fuck isn't he grunting? Why is it Hulk? Oh, boom, boom, boom. And then it finally sunk into my brain. Why would the Hulk be grunting? He's not in control. Jean Grey is. And I thought that was a really cool little piece of detail that someone like me completely overlooked and then had to allow it to make sense. And it's just little stuff like that I really appreciated in this Spider-Man movie, because then when the Hulk does become the Hulk, we get all of that. We get we get all of it.
Right,
and,
but you know the structure of that scene, the way they transitioned, because they introduced us to Banner in the film as Banner with the suppressor on his wrist.
Yeah.
Right. Then we see him as like Smart Hulk, while Jean's controlling it. Well, then once that control fades, he grows even larger.
Yes.
And becomes Savage Hulk.
Yes. And shout out to the writers for having Spider-Man say, I didn't know you could get that big. Because most of us know from how they presented it in the comics, the angrier the Hulk gets, the bigger the Hulk gets. And I thought that was a cool little nod to that, because I don't think they've ever really truly acknowledged his size like that. And I thought that was very fun. There's lots of stuff like that in the Spider-Man movie of why it literally hits me in the heart of thank you. This was a great movie. There's tons of stuff that we could nitpick. We certainly did. But I think it was a pretty awesome conversation. And like I said, we could talk about more of it on Friday. I have no problem with that. Joe, I know you're getting to go dinner. I can't believe it's almost 8 o'clock. We started this thing fucking 4.5 hours ago.
I know, man. I tell you what, there's only a couple of things I wanted to show you. Going through my comic books, I found one I knew you would appreciate. Isn't that cool?
Dude, I saw that sitting on top of your pile, and I'm like, how do I stop this conversation so we can talk about the tick? I'm like, I can't. We got to keep going.
The special edition with the things, and oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And nice. Why don't we have any Chuck Norris and his Karate Commandos movies? Come on now.
Look at that there. Chuck Norris comic. I have never, my hand to God, I've never seen a Chuck Norris comic book in my life.
And he is a Marvel character.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Had a whole line of toys out, too. Did little, like, karate things. Had a bunch of little different people, and they all came with, like, breakaway karate parts. And I thought that was kind of cool. But when the comic came out, I was like, wow. But that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
I love it, man. I love it. Joe, thank you very much for being here at the beginning of this conversation for the 3 hours, because I don't know what the hell. It would have only went maybe an hour with just me. And Pravit, I appreciate you jumping in here. And would you jump in here like 10 minutes to 3, something like that? We got an hour and a half out of you.
You were right around the 3 hour mark.
Yeah, too. Like literally, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, we're almost at 3 hours. Like, we'll wrap it up. And then I see you pop up, and I'm like, we ain't wrapping it up yet. We still got some time to go. So, which is awesome. I love it, especially when I don't plan on talking this long, but we can actually carry the conversations on this long. It's very fun to me. I really love it. I've been sitting around since Saturday, wanting to talk about this movie with people. So I'm a happy little piggy. Besides getting my Uncle Ben, I'm a happy little piggy.
Yeah, well, you know, if you really want some Uncle Ben's, you could just go to the grocery store.
You know what? Next time I watch the brand new Spider-Man movie and they don't talk about Uncle Ben, like I know they're not gonna, I'm gonna warm me up some Uncle Ben food, and I'm gonna sit there and say we got him right here at home. So that's what we'll do. But anyway,
you don't want to acknowledge him. I'll acknowledge him.
Right? Where is Uncle Ben? That's what Spider-Man 5 should be. Spider-Man 5, the search for Uncle Ben. Electric Boogaloo. There we go. We got to put that subtext title in there as well.
Are you speaking of breaking to the Electric Boogaloo?
Electric Boogaloo. We got to throw it in there, baby. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this whipping good time. That sucked. That was not a good joke. I apologize. I didn't mean to say that. But whip, everybody. And on that note, I've been holding on to this. We're going to end this show with a partake. And then my friends, they're going to leave. They're going to fucking get on their planes and they're going to leave. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Joe Prime 1986. Let's thank Prophet. Ooh, that hurt my throat. Let's pick on, the next time we see him, let's pick on Curtis Schultz, because I invited him here to talk about Spider-Man. And Curtis Schultz in the Squawk Box, he didn't show up, which is totally okay. There's no expectations here. If nobody shows up, then we just keep going. But I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody for the comment. I'm dying. Thank you all very much for checking out 4.5 hours. These are only supposed to be an hour long, you freaking crazy peoples. 4.5 hours of the Smoking Aces show. Jesus Christ. This shit's getting out of control. Thanks, TKD Bar, Rob, Pops. Who else was in here? Rob, TK, Pops the Trunk, Joe Prime, and everybody else. I don't mean to miss you. Kaz, there we go. I knew there was someone else. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. We'll be back on Friday for the Ace in the Hole Variety Show, where you're going to get more attitude from this dude. Because you know what? I don't have any filters anymore. I ain't got no filters anymore. I ain't got no fucks to give. So you're just going to get pure, raw Ace. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoy the intro or the outro.
There is dust upon the trail, the sun is burning bright. The town awakens as the day gives way to night. Where tumbleweeds are rolling, ancient tales still grow, and everyone is talking about the Smoking Ace Show. He rides upon that pale horse through the frontier road, with aces in his deck and a story
ACES Army is everywhere.
The whole town feels a thrill, you know. He has finally come
Hello,
back
sir.
home. Welcome to the Smoking A Show, where the good times always roll.
Smoking on the Smoking A
All
Show.
reviews and done by